Dual Cultivation audiobook by Kevin, Chapter 226, Moving to the Inner Core After Admitting Defeat. The 9 girls in Su Yang's room rested for a few more hours on his bed before they left his house. "Senior apprentice brother Su, do you think we can come back to cultivate with you again?" Shang Wenji asked him before leaving. Although she was worried that he might refuse, she still wanted to know. The other girls also looked at Su Yang with a pleading gaze. "It will get busy here very soon, but as long as you come back, I will not refuse you," Su Yang said to them with a smile. The girls were immediately relieved and thanked him with gleeful expressions. "Even if the line stretches to the horizon, I will return," Shang Wenji said, and the other girls agreed. And while they wanted to return the next day, they will most likely be sore. Not to mention they still have to cultivate the yang qi in their bodies, which could take days if not weeks due to the richness of its quality. "By the way, senior apprentice brother, why don't you move to the inner court where the houses are far bigger? You can fit over 10 people easily in those rooms," one of the girls asked him. After all, Su Yang is the only inner court disciple within the sect that have yet to enter the inner court. "If I move to the inner court, how will you girls be able to find me? It's against the sect rules for outer court disciples to enter the inner court," Su Yang reminded them. Unless they were authorized by a sect elder or have an inner court disciple guiding them, outer court disciples are prohibited from entering the inner court. However, this rule does not apply if an inner court disciple wants to enter the outer court, so it would be foolish for Su Yang to move to the inner court and potentially stop all of the outer court disciples from receiving his service. And because he wanted to cultivate as much yin qi from as many disciples as possible, Su Yang has decided to remain in the outer court so that disciples from all ranks will be able to reach him. "You are right." The girls began sweating profusely when the thought of not being able to see Su Yang because of their status as outer court disciples entered their minds. I change my mind. Please don't go anywhere, senior apprentice brother." That's right. Don't leave us alone." They began pleading him to stay. Su Yang chuckled and said, "If I wanted to enter the inner court, I would have done so ages ago. You don't have to worry, as I have no plans to move there." The girls thanked him again for his thoughtfulness and left a few minutes later. Once the 9 girls left his house, Su Yang sat on the bed that was soaking in yin qi and closed his eyes to cultivate. However, even though he used the special oil and increased girls' yin qi and cultivated with them multiple times, because of their low cultivation base at the elementary spirit realm, Su Yang's cultivation base barely saw any growth after cleaning every last bit of yin qi in the room. It was like filling an empty cup with just a few drops of water. "Ha!" Su Yang sighed after his cultivation. If he continues to cultivate with only disciples at the elementary spirit realm, he will have to cultivate with tens of thousands of times before he could even attempt to break through into the heavenly spirit realm. Not to mention his limited supply of special oil will not last. Thus, Su Yang began thinking of ways for him to entice those with a higher cultivation base to cultivate with him. "It would be ideal if I can cultivate with Lan liking every day, but her body will not be able to handle me every day, not to mention her worries for the sect rules. Other sect elders are also out of the picture because of the exact same sect rule that prohibits sect elders from cultivating with disciples. As for the core disciples, they will most likely be too prideful to cultivate with an inner court disciple like me, and there are so few of them in this place that it won't be worth the effort unless I am given the opportunity. Liu Lanjai is on the same boat as Lan Liking, and because she's the sect leader, it will be even harder to secretly cultivate with her." Thinking up to this point, Su Yang felt the urge to reveal his true identity to Liu Lanjai and become the new patriarch of the Profound Blossom Sect. However, if such a thing happened, Then he will no longer be able to participate in the regional tournament and meet with Zai Xingfeng that way. Not to mention that he won't stay in this place forever, so taking the position of sect leader will only harm the sect in the long term once he leaves. It seems like the best choice would be to go for the inner court disciples right now. After some more pondering, Su Yang got off the bed to organize the room and clean his body before sleeping, as it was already late into the night. The next morning, Lan Liking stood inside the medicine hall with a dumbfounded face. Where the hell is everybody today? Her disciples are usually already working at this time, but only a single individual has shown up today. Disciple Zio, what happened to everybody? Do you know they are absent? Lan Liking asked the only disciple there. Disciple Zio, who refused to follow her fellow disciples to meet Su Yang yesterday, shook her head. I also didn't hear anything from them. Lan Liking then recalled that they had gone to meet Su Yang after work yesterday and sighed. I can go to their living quarters and find out for you, Master, Disciple Zio said after seeing her sigh. It's fine, you don't have to bother with them, Lan Liking said to her, as she could guess their reason for being absent today. If they don't show up tomorrow, I will find them myself. Is that so? Disciple Zio nodded, feeling that Lan Liking was acting a bit out of character, as she is normally very strict about such matters. Chapter 227 Convincing Li Zio Mo to cultivate. Su Yang woke up early in the morning and left the house as soon as he washed his face. After leaving, he went directly to the inner court to look for Li Zio Mo, the only inner court disciple he's familiar with. Upon entering the inner court, Su Yang retrieved his identity jade slip and looked for the location of Li Zio Mo's living quarters with it, as it contained information of the location for all outer and inner court disciples' living quarters. However, such a function could only be accessed by inner court disciples and above. The purpose of such a function was to allow its disciples to seek out other disciples for dual cultivation, even if they have never met each other before. This gives any disciple that wishes to find new partners an opportunity to do so, not to mention its convenience. For example, if Su Yang had lost his partner for whatever reason and wanted to find a new one but is having a hard time doing so, he can use the jade slip to look for people and try to convince them to be his partner. In fact, many inner court disciples use this function to look for new partners when they are bored with their current one. If they fail to convince their first target, then they will simply go to the next one. And although some people are not fond of this system because it can get bothersome sometimes with people constantly looking for them, especially the popular disciples that already have partners, they can always request for their information to be hidden from others. After walking around the inner court for a few minutes, Su Yang has arrived at Li Zio Mo's living quarters. Upon arrival, however, Su Yang realized that he was not the only one to have come looking for Li Zio Mo. In fact, there were already a few male disciples that have arrived earlier than him to try their luck with Li Zio Mo. 4 handsome young men stood before Li Zio Mo's living quarters with Li Zio Mo at the door speaking to them. Junior apprentice Sister Li, can you at least tell me the reason why you do not want to cultivate with me? I promise you that I will make you experience a whole new world of pleasure. One of the handsome young men spoke with a desperate expression. If he doesn't convince Li Zio Mo, then one of the other 3 men there might take her from him. However, Li Zio Mo stared at the young man with a cold gaze and spat. You want to know why? It's simple. I don't want to cultivate with a man who will not be able to keep his promises. After experiencing Su Yang's godly techniques, Li Zio Mo's standard for pleasure has risen a few levels, so finding a partner that could satisfy her lust suddenly became incredibly difficult even with all these men going after her. What do you mean by that? How can I fulfill my promises when you won't even give me the chance? The young man said with a crying expression. Give it up, young man. Can't you see that you are bothering Junior apprentice Sister Li? There's a line here, you know. One of the young men waiting outside for him to finish suddenly said out loud, causing the rejected young man's face to flush red in anger. That's right. Junior apprentice Sister Lee has already refused to cultivate with you twice. You are not worthy of her. Get lost. Although the rejected young man wanted to beat these young men and release his anger, he did not want to lose any more face he has to in front of Li Xiaomo and said to her, Junior apprentice Sister Lee, I will be back tomorrow to ask you again. You don't have to come back tomorrow because my answer will still be the same. I will not cultivate with you, said Li Xiaomo, breaking the poor young man's heart even further. However, she was not finished speaking and continued, as a matter of fact, all of you can leave and never come back because I will not cultivate with any of you. What? But the other three young men were shocked by her words. How can you say that, my darling? Don't you remember me? We have cultivated a few times before. Don't call me that. I don't recall cultivating with someone as ugly as you. Li Xiaomo spat on the floor. You ugly. The young man's appearance was by no means ugly and nearly burst out crying, as this is the first time someone has called him ugly. However, what the young man didn't know was that Li Xiaomo's standard of handsome had also changed due to Su Yang's significantly superior appearance. What about me, junior apprentice sister? You promised me that we could cultivate together the last time we spoke. Another one spoke in a trembling voice. Him. Did I say something like that? I don't remember it, so you can forget about it, Li Xiaomo said in a nonchalant voice. In no way, you're too cruel, junior apprentice sister. Junior apprentice sister. The last disciple there no longer felt like trying to convince Li Xiaomo after seeing her ruthlessly turn down the other three, especially when they are superior to him in most categories. Not to mention, he wanted to prevent Li Xiaomo from mocking him at all cost. I will not repeat myself. All of you can get out of my face because I will not cultivate with you, Li Xiaomo said to them. The four young men sighed, wondering in their heads what had happened to her because she was not like this before. A few seconds later, just as Li Xiaomo prepared to close the door on them, another voice resounded in the area. What about me? Do you want to cultivate with me? A calm voice spoke to her from the distance. Before she could even take a good look at the face of this calm voice, Li Xiaomo shouted, No, I do not want to cultivate with a pig like you. Is that so? What a pity. I was even looking forward to it. Su Yang sighed with an expression that was filled with disappointment. SSS Su Yang. When Li Xiaomo finally saw the face of the voice, she instantly regretted speaking so hastily and choked from shock. Chapter 228 Euphoric Oil. When Su Yang was immediately rejected by Li Xiaomo, the other four male disciples there laughed at him inwardly, as seeing others share the same miserable fate as them helped relieve some pain in their hearts. A pig, huh? I don't think I have ever been called a pig before. Su Yang approached them with a calm smile on his face. WWA. I didn't know it was you. Li Xiaomo's complexion immediately paled upon realizing that the individual she just cursed had turned out to be the one and only Su Yang. It's fine, I understand you don't want me here. Su Yang pretended to be heartbroken by Li Xiaomo's response earlier. I will leave right this moment. However, despite his words, he continued approaching her. That's not true. I have been waiting to see you for so long. Li Xiaomo was on the verge of crying at this moment. To think that her long-awaited reunion with Su Yang would turn out to be so disastrous. The four male disciples there stared at the two of them with perplexed emotions on their faces. None of them were able to understand the situation. Why is Li Xiaomo acting like this after calling Su Yang a pig? And most importantly, who the hell is Su Yang and what is his relationship with Li Xiaomo? And if Su Yang is someone important to Li Xiaomo, then how come none of them know about him? Are you so sure about that? Su Yang ignored the four disciples standing there and staring at him like idiots and walked past them, not even glancing at them as he passed. "If what you say is true, then why don't you prove it to me inside?" Su Yang stood before Li Ziomo and spoke. Please come inside." Li Ziomo stepped into the house to allow Su Yang to enter. Once Su Yang entered her house, Li Ziomo turned to look at the four disciples with narrowed eyes and said in a cold voice, "I slice off your dick if you bother us get lost." And she slammed the door shut, leaving the four disciples standing outside with a gawking expression. Never mind Li Ziomo's foul language. The way she looked at them as though she was looking at trash caused their hearts to sink like a metal ball thrown from a high area, shattering all of their hopes cultivating with her with a single gaze. After closing the door, Li Ziomo showed Su Yang a place to sit and even served him tea. What brings you here today, junior apprentice brother?" "Junior apprentice brother, huh?" Su Yang smiled. Li Ziomo's expression froze and she quickly corrected herself. "I apologize, master." Su Yang raised an eyebrow. "Who are you calling master? I don't remember making you my student or servant." But just now you." Li Ziomo looked at him with wide eyes. If he wasn't annoyed at her calling him junior apprentice brother, then why did he just act as though he was offended by it? "Forget about the minor things and let's talk about why I am here today." Su Yang retrieved a glass bottle from his robes and placed it on the table before him. "What is that?" Li Ziomo asked him after seeing the glass bottle that seemed to be containing some sort of transparent liquid substance. "This is a specially made substance called euphoric oil. If you rub it on your body, it will strengthen your yin qi and intensify your pleasure." Euphoric oil. Li Ziomo was startled. She has never heard of such a thing before and was certain that the Profound Blossom Sect did not have such a miraculous treasure. "Where did you get such a thing? The Profound Blossom Sect will go crazy if they learn of it." "Where it came from does not matter," said Su Yang. "Then what do you want from me?" "Seeing that you have shown it to me, I am guessing that you want me to do something with it," she asked him. "That's correct," he nodded and continued. "I want you to take this bottle of euphoric oil and share it with as many of your friends as possible." "Why, you want me to share this euphoric oil with others? Are you not afraid that the sect will be coming after you afterward?" she asked in a concerned tone. "There's no need to worry about the sect because I intend on visiting the sect leader after this," Su Yang said with a smile. "Is that so? Then what should I do after sharing it?" "You will find out after you share it," he answered. "I understand," she nodded despite not truly understanding. After a moment of silence, Li Ziomo looked at Su Yang with a reserved face and asked him, "Is there anything else that you need from me?" Although it was hidden under the table, Li Ziomo was fidgeting with her fingers, as she was hoping that Su Yang had other intentions for seeking her today. What makes you think that?" Su Yang asked with a mysterious smile. Li Ziomo's face slightly flushed and she spoke, "About what you said before." Normally she wouldn't beat around the bush when it comes to speaking her mind like when she chased away the four disciples outside. But Li Ziomo was finding it especially difficult to utter even a single word without sounding bashful when speaking to Su Yang. Seeing Li Ziomo's reaction, Su Yang chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I do not intend on making you work for me without any payments." That's not what I mean," she hastily said. "I will gladly do this job for free." "Are you sure?" Su Yang smiled. "And I was thinking of giving you a special massage as a payment." Li Ziomo's expression froze after hearing his words. Once again she had spoken way too early. Chapter 229, enslaving her body and mind. "A special massage, you say?" Li Ziomo looked at Su Yang with a dumbfounded face, and she cried inwardly, "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Su Yang nodded. "A massage using this euphoric oil. After all, you should at least be aware of the thing you are trying to share. But if you don't want to do it, then I will be leaving now." Su Yang stood up and prepared to walk away. But just as he turned his body, Li Ziomo jumped from her seat and tightly embraced his back. "Wait, I want it, Please give it to me, she begged me while hugging his body to prevent him from leaving. Very well, Su Yang nodded. A few moments later, Li Xiaomo led Su Yang to her room, which was at least 3 times bigger than Su Yang's little room at the outer court. Go lie on the bed, Su Yang said to her, and take your clothes off. Li Xiaomo nodded and began undressing. A few seconds later, Li Xiaomo laid on the bed with her silky smooth back facing the ceiling. This reminds me, Su Yang suddenly spoke. You really went all out when you were alone in my room, huh? Huh. What do you mean by that? Li Xiaomo suddenly recalled their first meeting, and how Su Yang had left her alone to deal with the frustration he'd caused in her body. And flashbacks of her satisfying herself in Su Yang's room appeared in her mind, causing her face to flush red in embarrassment. That was because you left me alone after everything you did to my body. I would have gone crazy if I didn't release the frustration in my body back then. Li Xiaomo cried out loud. And if you had approached me in a proper manner back then, I wouldn't have needed to tease you like that, Su Yang responded with a smile. Li Xiaomo immediately turned silent. She still regretted her decision to make Su Yang her slave on that day to this second. But even if she never underestimated his ability as a mere outer court disciple, her attitude would have still wanted to keep Su Yang for herself. I know apologizing won't excuse my behavior on that day, but I will try my best to make it up to you in the future. Li Xiaomo looked at him in the eyes and spoke in a sincere voice. Su Yang did not say anything and began pouring the euphoric oil on her back. Oh! Li Xiaomo could feel a warm feeling slowly envelope her entire body, almost like she was wrapped around in a warm blanket. Su Yang then began spreading the oil around her back, massaging all of her weak points along the way. Ah, this! I have been waiting for this ever since that day, Li Xiaomo thought to herself as memories of her first experience with Su Yang's technique filled her mind. Ever since Su Yang used his technique on her body, Li Xiaomo has tried everything to recreate the pleasure Su Yang made her body feel. But alas, no matter what she tried, they all ended up in vain, even leaving her body craving for more. Her desire for satisfaction had gotten so bad at one point that Li Xiaomo went to core disciples to seek a resolution. But when even the core disciples, the most seasoned experts in the art of pleasure within the Profound Blossom Sect, cannot fully satisfy her hunger for pleasure, Li Xiaomo finally realized Su Yang's true ability and just how truly horrifying his techniques were. She had realized at that time that Su Yang had the ability to enslave just about any female body and mind, by making them experience a type of pleasure that they can only crave for after experiencing it once. And once they experienced it, they will never be able to satisfy themselves again unless it was with Su Yang. This type of horrifying ability meant that Su Yang has the capability to enslave any female he wants with just his divine techniques, and Li Xiaomo's heart would sink whenever she thought back to how she'd once tried to make such a dreadful individual her slave. But fortunately for her, Su Yang is not the type of person to abuse such strength unless absolutely necessary. And while he does make all of his partners crave for him, he does not make it so that they cannot live without his techniques. If Su Yang was such a person, then he would surely be hated by the world, and would have died by the hands of the countless female experts that are stronger than him in the 4 divine heavens before he could even be imprisoned by the heavenly emperor. Once Su Yang covered Li Xiaomo's back with the euphoric oil, he flipped her body and began massaging her front. Ah! NNNNNG. Li Xiaomo's body twitched in an erratic fashion as Su Yang teased her little sister with his slender fingers. Her bottom lips were swollen from lust, and her little pink pearl was constantly trembling from the intense sensation. Li Xiaomo had sprayed so many times within these few minutes that her mind was on the verge of collapsing. And compared to her session last time with him, It was a difference between heaven and earth incomparable. Su Yang stopped massaging her after a few more minutes. Haya, haya, haya. Li Ziomo took heavy and deep breaths as she laid on the bed with her body soaked in sweat and euphoric oil, her lower body still jerking from the lingering pleasure. Are we already finished? Li Ziomo wondered in her head, feeling like only a few seconds have passed. Li Ziomo slowly turned her head to see what Su Yang was doing, and her eyes widened with shock when her gaze landed on the long and thick rod that was sticking out of Su Yang's robes. You didn't think that was it, right? Su Yang asked her with a smile on his face. That is. Li Ziomo stared at him with a dazed face. She was speechless and overjoyed at the same time. Chapter 230, returning to the White Pearl Treasury. This is his. It's so beautiful. Li Ziomo nearly began salivating after Su Yang exposed his little brother to her. Do you want it? Su Yang asked her with a grin on his face. I want it. Li Ziomo nodded with a dazed expression. Hearing her words, Su Yang pulled her body toward his own and began poking her soaking wet cave with his rod without fully inserting into her. Please stop teasing me and stick it inside me already, Li Ziomo muttered in a pleading voice. What should I do? Su Yang made a pondering expression and acted as though he was really thinking about it. Li Ziomo felt like crying. However, she would rather be teased by him than having what happened last time to repeat itself. After teasing her for a few more moments, Su Yang suddenly pierced the trembling flower before him in one fierce movement without any warnings. Li Ziomo felt her heart skip a beat when a sudden wave of pleasure consumed her entire body. She was so unprepared by the piercing of her body that her voice got stuck when she moaned. "SS so sudden." Tears filled Li Ziomo's eyes, yet her body was screaming with delight as her little sister sprayed a large amount of love juice. After piercing her body, Su Yang began moving his hips, thrusting in and out of Li Ziomo's tight cave, feeling a strong suction force with every thrust. Tilde. With each thirst made by Su Yang, Li Ziomo's body trembled in joy, and more of her yin qi would flow out from her wet cave, soaking the bed in her yin qi. At this moment, Li Ziomo felt as though her body had entered paradise, and her mind drifted into a profound state that was unlike anything she's ever experienced before. Is this the legendary state of sexual enlightenment? Li Ziomo wondered as her body became as light as a feather, feeling as though her body was slowly ascending towards the sky. Time passed by much faster for Li Ziomo when she was in this state, and by the time an entire hour have passed, it only felt like a few minutes to her. Su Yang released his white liquid into Li Ziomo at the end of the session, filling her body with rich yang qi that could rival even peak heavenly spirit realm experts. After their cultivation finished with Li Ziomo barely conscious at the end, Su Yang said to her before leaving her alone to rest, "Once you finish the task I gave you, my doors will be open for you if you ever feel like cultivating." When she heard his words, Li Ziomo silently vowed to finish the task as soon as possible. "I will leave behind 5 bottles of euphoric oil behind. It should be enough for even 100 people if you portion it properly, as you don't have to cover their entire body with the oil like I did with you. Just rubbing a little on their most sensitive areas so they can experience it will be more than enough." After leaving behind all of his instructions, Su Yang left Li Ziomo's living quarters and returned to his room, where he cultivated Li Ziomo's yin qi and cleaned his body. After doing all of that, Su Yang organized all of his resources again. "I only have 10 more bottles of euphoric oil on hand, but I have enough ingredients to make another 20 bottles. Each bottle of euphoric oil held about a liter of oil, and if used appropriately, it will still last him for only a few weeks." Hence Su Yang decided to only use the euphoric oil when he's cultivating with those that are at least within the middle stages of the profound spirit realm. In other words, only those above the fourth level of the profound spirit realm will be able to experience the oil massages at least, until he finds more resources to create more euphoric oil. The Profound Blossom Sect should have most of the ingredients required to make more, since the ingredients are not that rare in itself. However, in order to get them, I will probably have to use more premium points. However, he barely had any left because he'd already spent the majority of his premium points on the pure yang flower. Su Yang pondered for ways to earn premium points, but because he's no longer as desperate as before to increase his power, he did not have the intention to charge people for future massages. Su Yang looked at the euphoric oil, and an idea appeared in his head. If I sell one of this to the Profound Blossom Sect for enough premium points to make more than just one euphoric oil, I will be able to make them without running out of resources. Su Yang has decided to just sell the euphoric oil for premium points due to its efficiency and ease. Thus, Su Yang left the house again and began making his way towards the White Pearl Treasury, the place where all the disciples go to exchange their premium points for resources and vice versa. Upon arriving at the White Pearl Treasury, Su Yang noticed a familiar figure casually sitting behind the desk. It was Elder Zhao, the one who sold Su Yang the pure yang flower, and as usual he seemed to be asleep. Once Su Yang stepped into the White Pearl Treasury, Elder Zhao opened his mouth to speak without even opening his eyes. "What do you want from the White Pearl Treasury?" "I want to know if you have any of the ingredients on this list." Su Yang placed a piece of paper on the desk before Elder Zhao and said, This voice." Elder Zhao snapped his eyes open when he heard Su Yang's familiar voice, immediately recognizing it. When he saw Su Yang's handsome face and green robes, Elder Zhao sighed. "So it really is you. Why have you come here this time?" "Didn't you hear what I said just now?" Su Yang calmly responded. HMPH, still as rude as ever. Elder Zhao coldly snorted. Chapter 231, Testing the Euphoric Oil, Spirit Yin Root, Crystal Ginseng, Blue Lizard Tears. Elder Zhao read the contents of Su Yang's list. There were approximately 30 ingredients required to create the euphoric oil, and although none of the items needed could be considered rare, they were all ingredients commonly used by alchemists to concoct pills. After reading the list of ingredients, Elder Zhao turned to look at Su Yang with raised eyebrows, his gaze filled with puzzlement. "These ingredients, are you concocting a pill or something? Since when did you become an alchemist?" he asked with an expression of great interest. When it comes to Su Yang, Elder Zhao found him to be unpredictable and mysterious, which only made Elder Zhao want to learn more about Su Yang. Just some experiments, nothing worth mentioning. Anyway, how many premium points would it cost to buy all of them? Su Yang casually dodged the question and asked him. Elder Zhao looked at him suspiciously before returning to the list with a pondering face. After a moment of silence and calculating, Elder Zhao spoke. "It will cost you 2,000 premium points." 2,000, huh? While it paled in comparison to the pure yang flower that cost him 10,000 premium points, it is still quite expensive. "I understand." Su Yang nodded, and he continued. "Then how much premium points would this fetch for if I were to sell it to the White Pearl Treasury?" Su Yang retrieved a bottle of euphoric oil and placed it on the desk before Elder Zhao, who picked it up and looked at it with a puzzled gaze. "What is this supposed to be? It's transparent like water but also seems to be slightly thick in the textures." Elder Zhao spoke as he wiggled the bottle around to inspect the liquid inside. "Not to mention its smell. It has quite a strong and alluring aroma." Su Yang smiled when Elder Zhao began acting all professional all of a sudden. "It's called euphoric oil, and it can strengthen a woman's yin qi if rubbed onto their body." He explained its main characteristics. "Say what?" Elder Zhao's eyes widened with shock, and he immediately stopped fiddling with the glass bottle. After a moment of silence due to shock, Elder Zhao frowned and spoke with a serious expression. "If this euphoric oil is as valuable as you say, then you wouldn't mind me testing it first, right? If I come to find out that you are only farting, then I will personally punish you myself. Do you have anything else to say?" Elder Zhao wanted to give Su Yang one last chance to come clean before he tests the euphoric oil. "Go ahead." Su Yang responded with a confident smile on his calm face. Elder Zhao silently stared at Su Yang with narrowed eyes for a few seconds before shouting, "Disciple son, come out here for a bit." A few moments after Elder Zhao called for this disciple, a slim figure appeared from the door a few feet away. "What is it, Elder Zhao?" asked the disciple as she appeared. When Su Yang saw the disciple's familiar face, his eyebrows raised slightly. It's you." The disciple also seemed to recognize Su Yang. "It's been a while, elder son's granddaughter," Su Yang said with a smile. "I have a name, you know. Sun Jingjing," she responded with a frown. Indeed, this disciple Elder Zhao had called for happened to be Sun Jingjing, Elder Sun's granddaughter, who was responsible for his journey to the immortal treasury that resulted in his meeting with Xiao Rong alongside with other events. Sun Jingjing, huh? Su Yang couldn't help but chuckle when he heard her name, as it reminded him of Wu Jingjing, the prime disciple of the Holy Sword Academy from the Holy Central Continent. "Is there something funny about my name?" she asked him, who laughed at her introduction. "It only reminded me of someone else I know, that's all." "The two of you know each other?" Elder Zhao raised an eyebrow at Sun Jingjing. What kind of relationship does Sun Jingjing have with someone like Su Yang? Does her grandfather, Elder Sun, know about this? "I cannot really say that we know each other, as we've only crossed path once, and it was only for a few minutes," Sun Jingjing responded. "Is that so?" Elder Zhao felt relieved for some reason, as he was sure that Elder Sun will definitely cause a commotion if they were anything more than that. "Anyway, why did you call for me, Elder Zhao?" "I was just finishing up organizing the room," she asked him. "Oh, right." Elder Zhao finally recalled the situation, and he showed her the glass bottle in his hands. "I wanted you to take a look at this." Sun Jingjing raised an eyebrow when her nose accidentally sniffed the sweet aroma coming from the glass. "What is this? It smells so nice." "This liquid is called euphoric oil, and apparently it can boost the yin qi of any woman, at least according to this young man over here." Elder Zhao spoke in a semi-sarcastic voice. He is clearly still sketchy of Su Yang's words. "Is that so?" Sun Jingjing inspected the liquid with her gaze flickering with interest. Although she didn't say anything, she did not immediately dismiss Su Yang's words, no matter how absurd it may seem. After all, what he did at the disciplinary office had left a profound impression on her. And his knowledge of the sacred language that was written in the scroll she had brought back from the immortal treasury managed to not only surprise her, but also stump her grandfather, Elder Sun, who is considered to be one of the most knowledgeable people within the Profound Blossom Sect. Proves that Su Yang is an individual that cannot be underestimated and dismissed so easily. At least that's what Sun Jingjing thinks of him after her first impression on him. "And you want me to use this on myself?" Sun Jingjing could already guess Elder Zhao's intentions. "Yes, if you don't mind." Elder Zhao did not want to force her something she didn't want to, as she's the granddaughter of the highly respected Elder Sun. After a moment of silence, Sun Jingjing nodded. "Very well, I will do it." Chapter 232, Betting with Elder Zhao. After agreeing to test the euphoric oil on herself, Sun Jingjing grabbed the glass bottle and went back to the other room. But before she left, she asked Su Yang, "How much do I need to use for it to be effective?" "You will see immediate effects if you rub even a few drops of the oil on your most sensitive parts. But of course, the more you use, the more effective it will be," he responded. Inside the other room, Sun Jingjing dipped an inch of her finger into the oil. She then loosened her robes and began rubbing her little sister with the euphoric oil. Although she never imagined that she'd do something like this in the White Pearl Treasury, Sun Jingjing was not too bothered by it, as even the most unpredictable thing could even happen. After all, when she tried to return to the Immortal Treasury a few days after meeting Su Yang, the Immortal Treasury had not only closed but also disappeared entirely, almost as though it had never existed in the first place. Her trip to return to the Immortal Treasury had wasted not only her time, but also taught her that no matter how unlikely something was to happen, it was not impossible. After gently rubbing some of the euphoric oil on her bottom lips, Sun Jingjing could feel her body immediately flare up with the desire to mate. This is incredible, she thought to herself as she started playing with her virgin hole. Because Sun Jingjing joined the Profound Blossom Sect as an inner court disciple, something that Elder Sun had a role in, she became the only disciple within the Profound Blossom Sect to have become an inner court disciple, with her pure yin essence still intact. And the fact that Sun Jingjing is still a virgin despite being an inner court disciple made her incredibly sought after by every male disciple within the inner court, and even most of the core disciples have tried to court her. However, because she'd only joined the Profound Blossom Sect because of her grandfather, Elder Sun, Sun Jingjing refused all of them and remained pure even to this day. That being said, that did not mean Sun Jingjing wanted to remain pure forever, as she also would like to have a partner someday. However, because of her character, such desires are being held back, especially when it's a challenge for her to find someone that could even slightly impress her. Meanwhile, while Sun Jingjing was testing the euphoric oil on herself, Elder Zhao tried to get more information on the euphoric oil from Su Yang. Where did you obtain that thing anyway? Or did you buy it from somebody else? Who knows where it came from? Even I don't, Su Yang shook his head and said. It was beside my pillow when I woke up one day. Elder Zhao frowned and growled. Do you really think that I will believe such crap? Su Yang merely shrugged. Even if Elder Zhao wanted to beat the answers out of him, the sect strictly prohibited sect elders from taking advantage of its disciples. If a sect elder is found to have abused their status and pressured or forced disciples to expose their secrets or give away their belongings, then that sect elder will immediately receive punishment from the sect leader herself. If you don't want to tell me, just say so. Elder Zhao shook his head and sighed. The place turned quiet afterward, and it continued to be that way for many minutes. How long does it take to test some oil? Elder Zhao began feeling impatient after Sun Jingjing entered the other room for half an hour without coming out. You shouldn't rush a lady when it comes to things like this, Su Yang said with a calm smile. HMPH, what do you know? You are 100 years too early to be lecturing me in such a subject. Elder Zhao snickered. He's been a part of this Profound Blossom Sect for over 100 years and has cultivated with countless disciples when he was at his prime age, and in his mind, Su Yang is far too green to be talking about ladies when before him. Are you sure about that? Su Yang couldn't help but laugh at his ignorance. Elder Zhao frowned and said, even if your techniques may satisfy the outer court disciples, the true seasoned experts, the sect elders, will not feel a thing if you used it on them. Elder Zhao was fully aware that Su Yang had been quite popular for his massages for a certain period, but in his eyes, it was only because all of his customers were outer court disciples. Ho, are you willing to make a bet on that? Su Yang asked him with narrowed eyes. You want to make a bet with me? Elder Zhao burst out laughing despite finding Su Yang to be disrespectful to even think of such a thing. That's right, Su Yang nodded. Since you sounded pretty confident when saying that my techniques will not work on sect elders, then you should have confidence in winning this bet. Interesting. Elder Zhao looked at him with a pondering face. Because he cannot find anything to do that could entertain him, Elder Zhao is always sleeping his boredom away. However, now that something that could pique his interest has appeared, there's no reason for him to turn down Su Yang's little bet. What are the conditions? he asked Su Yang. It's simple, really. You will find 3 sect elders that are willing to donate their time to participate in our bet, and I will use my techniques on them. If I cannot satisfy all 3 of them, then you win. HMPH. That wouldn't even be a challenge for me. Elder Zhao snorted with arrogance. 1. If you can satisfy just one of them, I will consider it my loss. Elder Zhao gave Su Yang 3 chances to satisfy at least one of them with his techniques, something Su Yang could do even with his eyes closed and hands tied together. Very well. Su Yang had no reason to refuse Elder Zhao's generosity that was akin to stabbing himself in the foot when he is already on the chopping board. Chapter 233, Selling the Euphoric Oil. Now that we have the conditions out of the way, what will we be gambling with? Elder Zhao asked him. If I cannot satisfy even a single sect elder, then I deserve to lose everything I have. If I lose, I will do whatever you want, Su Yang said to him with a calm expression. How bold of you! Elder Zhao narrowed his eyes at Su Yang, who was seemingly so confident that he couldn't even imagine losing. How about this? If you lose, you will tell me where you have obtained the euphoric oil. Elder Zhao did not want to bully Su Yang too much, as he was someone who valued his own face. That's fine with me, Su Yang nodded. If I lose, let's see. I will allow you to grab any one thing from this white pearl treasury as long as it's in stock, Elder Zhao said. While the white pearl treasury has even the most valuable resources and treasures, Elder Zhao was also confident that he would not lose to Su Yang in this bet, hence why he did not hesitate to bet with such high stakes when compared to Su Yang's seemingly low stakes. A mysterious smile broke out on Su Yang's face when he heard Elder Zhao's words. He can pick any one item from the white pearl treasury. That's already more than what he could ask for. In fact, Su Yang had only intended to ask for some premium points. But alas, Elder Zhao had unknowingly dug another hole for himself to fill his tears afterward. Very well, then, I will be waiting for you to find 3 sect elders after this. Su Yang eagerly nodded. In the meantime, why don't you show me a list of everything you have at the White Pearl Treasury? I would like to see if there's anything worth picking after I win, he continued. Elder Zhao's face sunk and he spoke in a serious voice. Don't get too cocky. You can look at it after you win if you win. A few minutes after Su Yang and Elder Zhao made the bet, the door finally opened, and Sun Jingjing walked out of the room with her face red like an apple, and embarrassment could be seen in her expression. Disciple Sun, Elder Zhao looked at her with wide eyes. What on earth happened back there? She seemed pretty exhausted, looking like she was pretty active back there with the testing. I'm sorry, Elder Zhao, Sun Jingjing suddenly said to him with a saddened expression. Thinking that she was apologizing about the time it had taken her to finish, Elder Zhao shook his head and said, It's fine, it didn't even feel that long. No, I don't mean that. Sun Jingjing held out the euphoric oil in front of her and said, I got ahead of myself and used more than I was supposed to. When Elder Zhao saw that more than a third of the euphoric oil in the glass bottle was gone, his jaw dropped to the ground. This is. Elder Zhao was speechless, but he still wanted to know the results. What about the results? He asked her. It worked, greatly. Sun Jingjing spoke with a bashful expression, something Elder Zhao has never seen before from her. If I had to compare it with the Profound Yin pill, then it's at least 3 times more effective, Sun Jingjing continued. Good Lord, 3 times as effective. Elder Zhao was truly speechless and bewildered now. He slowly turned to Su Yang and thought to himself, I must know where he got this euphoric oil now. Now that you know it works, do you want to buy it from me? Su Yang asked him with a grin. As much as Elder Zhao hated to admit, he really wanted this euphoric oil for himself to study, but due to the circumstances, he will have to show it to the sect leader before deciding anything for himself, as this new discovery could greatly change the Profound Blossom Sect. How much premium points do you want for it? Elder Zhao asked him with a defeated expression. I want 3,000 premium points for it, Su Yang said with a nonchalant expression. 3. Elder Zhao nearly punched Su Yang in the face for asking for such an exorbitant amount for some oil. What's wrong? You can't afford to pay a mere 3,000 premium points for something that is 3 times as effective as the profound yin pill. Su Yang spoke in a mocking tone. Elder Zhao forcefully took a deep breath to calm himself down and continued. It may be worth 3,000 premium points if it was a full bottle, but as you can see, there are only 2/3 left. Although Elder Zhao was aware that it was not Su Yang's fault, he still wanted to annoy him a bit, even if he had to sacrifice some face in order to do so. And sure enough, Su Yang raised his eyebrows in surprise. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. And how is that my problem? If it's like that, then you might as well use the entire bottle before buying it from me for free, Su Yang said to him. Elder Zhao, he is right. It's entirely my fault that there are only 2/3 left. Sun Jingjing also tried to reason with him. In fact, allow me to pay for what I've used. Feeling guilty about the situation, Sun Jingjing offered to pay 1,000 of the 3,000 premium points. Elder Zhao looked at her and shook his head. Forget it, the White Pearl Treasury will buy it for 3,000. You can think of the used euphoric oil as a reward for always helping me organize the place. Elder Zhao continued speaking. Elder Zhao, thank you. Sun Jingjing bowed to him as a show of her gratitude to him. Afterward, Elder Zhao returned to Su Yang and said, Give me your identification badge, and I will transfer the funds to you. Su Yang smiled and quickly handed him his identification badge. Chapter 234. What have I done? The fund has been transferred. Elder Zhao handed Su Yang back his identification badge after transferring 3,000 premium points to him. Although he may have seemed reluctant to give Su Yang the 3,000 premium points for the euphoric oil, it was not as if he didn't think it was not worth it. In fact, paying 3,000 premium points for something that has the same effect as the valuable pure yin pill, and even being 3 times more effective, it was an incredible steal for him in Elder Zhao's mind, especially when a single pure yin pill alone would cost a disciple 3,000 premium points to obtain. If I separate them into many bottles and sell each of them for as much as a single pure yin pill, then I can easily make back what I had spent for it. Elder Zhao laughed inwardly. If there's nothing else you need, you can scram. Elder Zhao said to him after handing him the identification badge. As for our agreement, I will contact you once I am ready. Su Yang could tell that Elder Zhao no longer wanted to see his face, but unfortunately for Elder Zhao, he still needed to buy the ingredients to make more euphoric oil. I want everything on this list. Su Yang showed him the list again. Elder Zhao did not say anything to him and grabbed the list. Can you get these items from the back for me? Elder Zhao asked Sun Jingjing as he handed her the papers. Sun Jingjing nodded and went to the back again. A few minutes later, Sun Jingjing returned with a large bag of ingredients. Everything you listed is here, double-check if you want. Su Yang did not need to open the bag to see the ingredients inside, and only needed a single sniff to tell what was inside the bag. There's no need, he said as he handed 2,000 premium points back to Elder Zhao. After selling to Elder Zhao 1 bottle of euphoric oil for 3,000 premium points, and spending 2/3 of that for enough ingredients to create 2 bottles of euphoric oil, Su Yang left the White Pearl Treasury with 1,000 spare premium points to spare for the future. All in all, his purpose has been fulfilled without any hiccups, not to mention his little bet with Elder Zhao, which will guarantee his pockets another valuable treasure from the White Pearl Treasury. That being said, even if he can obtain the most valuable treasure the White Pearl Treasury has to offer, it will most likely not be of any use for somebody like Su Yang, especially when he has a cultivation base at the 9th level of the Earth Spirit Realm. Once Su Yang returned home, he removed all of the ingredients from the bag and began creating more euphoric oil. Meanwhile, back at the White Pearl Treasury, Elder Zhao asked Sun Jingjing, "Do you recall every item that was on the list?" Sun Jingjing nodded. "I need you to keep the list and this euphoric oil a secret from everybody, even sect elders, if they ask you, until the sect leader gives official word on what we should do." "I understand," she quickly replied. "Good. And tell your grandfather to come find me in 2 days, as I have important matters to discuss with him." "I will tell him that. As for what happened today, you don't need to think too much about it, as it's quite natural in the Profound Blossom Sect. And when you finally find a partner for yourself, you will be doing things even more embarrassing than what you did in the other room." Elder Zhao did not want Sun Jingjing to be too bothered by her actions today, as it might affect her cultivation. Even though she appreciated his comforting, Sun Jingjing did not know how to respond to Elder Zhao, as it would only make her feel more embarrassed and awkward. "You can leave for today," Elder Zhao then said to her. There are only very few people within the Profound Blossom Sect that receive that same treatment as Sun Jingjing when it comes to Elder Zhao. Because she's the granddaughter of Elder Sun, someone that has been friends with Elder Zhao since their days as outer court disciples, Elder Zhao could not see Sun Jingjing as a mere disciple. In fact, in the entire Profound Blossom Sect, Sun Jingjing is the only disciple that could act so casually when around someone like Elder Zhao. That being said, Sun Jingjing is fully aware of Elder Zhao's biased treatment towards her, yet she decided to act as though she couldn't tell, as she didn't want other disciples to start any unhealthy rumors. After being told that she could leave, Sun Jingjing left the White Pearl Treasury and returned home. Once she returned to her room, Sun Jingjing locked herself in her room despite being the only person living inside the house. When she was certain that nobody was around, Sun Jingjing retrieved a small bottle that was hidden inside her robes and stared at it with a guilty face. "I'm truly sorry, Elder Zhao," she sighed. Sun Jingjing had actually sneaked some of the euphoric oil into her own container when she was still inside the other room and brought it home. When she experienced the pleasure that the euphoric oil brought to her body, she wasn't able to resist the urge to steal some for herself to use at home when she's alone. "What have I done? To think I would do something like this. I must be going crazy." Sun Jingjing was relieved when Elder Zhao did not suspect her after seeing that a third of the euphoric oil disappear, and even accepted her excuse, or she would have killed herself from shame. And while she disdained her own actions, she most definitely did not regret it. Once Sun Jingjing was prepared and naked on her bed, she proceeded to rub some of the euphoric oil onto her most sensitive area. A few seconds later, Sun Jingjing began moaning as she pleasured herself. Chapter 235. The sect leader's task. After Su Yang and Sun Jingjing left the White Pearl Treasury, Elder Zhao went directly to the Yin-Yang Pavilion to meet with Liu Lanjai regarding the euphoric oil. It was given to you by Su Yang. Liu Lanjai closely inspected the glass bottle in her grasp with a serious expression. Anything that has Su Yang's involvement required her to be extremely cautious, as who knows what someone unexpected like him would do. Indeed. Elder Zhao nodded and continued. It was already tested by Elder Sun's granddaughter, Sun Jingjing, and she determined it to be at least 3 times more effective than the pure yin pills. Liu Lanjai did not say anything for a moment and dipped her fingers into the slimy oil, and directly in front of Elder Zhao, she proceeded to rub herself under her robes. Elder Zhao sighed inwardly but didn't say anything and closed his eyes. A few moments later, Liu Lanjai spoke. This is indeed a substantial discovery. If we can figure out how this is made or where it came from, it will greatly boost the overall prowess of the Profound Blossom Sect. If the female disciples within the Profound Blossom Sect received a boost to their yin qi, then the male disciples that cultivate with them will also improve. However, as excited as she was, Liu Lanjai was not too optimistic, as who knows if they will even obtain another of this euphoric oil in the future. Did Su Yang tell you anything about where he obtained this from? She asked Elder Zhao. He immediately shook his head and spoke. Not only is that brat incredibly rude, but he also refused to say anything, not even a hint. Is that so? Liu Lanjai sighed inwardly. Forget about him. Even she, as the sect leader, does not know how to deal with someone like Su Yang properly. However, there might be a clue. Elder Zhao suddenly said. Go on. Alongside the euphoric oil, he also brought a list of ingredients, spending 2,000 premium points without any hesitation after selling the euphoric oil. If I have to make a guess, that list has something to do with the euphoric oil, a recipe perhaps. Liu Lanjai's eyes lit up when she heard Elder Zhao's words. Do you recall every ingredient that was on that list? She asked him. I do. Good shit. Liu Lanjai cursed from excitement, nearly bursting out laughing at Su Yang for underestimating their shrewdness. However, little did they know that Su Yang had foreseen such a situation. That being said, even if they knew the ingredients to create the euphoric oil, if they don't have both the technique and skills required to create the euphoric oil, they won't be successful no matter how many experiments they do. Hence why Su Yang did not care about letting them see the list of ingredients. Elder Zhao recalled the list of ingredients from his memories and wrote it on a piece of paper according to Liu Lanjai's wishes. Here you go. He handed it to her after he finished. This is quite the long list. Liu Lanjai said after reading through the ingredients. That only makes this list seem more authentic. Very well. Liu Lanjai nodded and continued. Although we are not concocting pills, I want the Profound Pill Hall to study the list and see if they can find anything. Also, because we are dealing with mostly medicine and herbs, I want the medicine hall also involved in this. Give them some of the euphoric oil and see if they can figure out how it's made. I understand, but what about him? Elder Zhao asked. Him. If you mean Su Yang, I already have another business with him, so I will be seeing him very soon. Liu Lanjai still hasn't forgiven Su Yang for slapping her in the face while she was asleep. Even though it was to wake her up, weren't there any better methods than to slap a beauty in the face? Only a villain would do such a thing. Elder Zhao left the Yin-Yang Pavilion a few minutes later to complete Liu Lanjai's task. He first went to the Profound Pill Hall, where all of the pills found in the White Treasury Hall came from. The sect leader has a task for the Profound Pill Hall. Elder Zhao said to them as soon as he entered the building. Elder Zhao. The alchemy masters inside greeted him. What does the sect leader desire from us? As long as it's pill-related, the Profound Pill Hall will not disappoint her. Unfortunately, it's not about a pill. Elder Zhao retrieved the list of ingredients and said, the sect leader wants to know if there are any recipes out there that require all of the ingredients listed here. If none of you know, she would like for you to research it to the best of your abilities. Once Elder Zhao handed them the list of ingredients, the alchemy masters at the Profound Pill Hall gathered in a circle and began their discussion. After his job at the Profound Pill Hall was finished, Elder Zhao went to the medicine hall with a tiny bottle of the euphoric oil in his pockets. This disciple greets Elder Zhao. The girls at the medicine hall immediately greeted Elder Zhao upon seeing him. Elder Zhao, Lan Liking also greeted him with a courteous bow. Elder Zhao nodded and said, I came here today because the sect leader has a task for the medicine hall, What does the sect leader want us to do, Lan Liking asked. Elder Zhao retrieved the small bottle of euphoric oil in his pockets and showed it to her. This aroma, Not just Lan Liking but every disciple there beside one individual immediately took notice of the sweet aroma that was around the glass bottle. Although none of them showed it on their faces, they all recognized the euphoric oil by its distinctive smell, especially when their body was soaked in such substances not too long ago. Lan Liking felt an obnoxious feeling in her heart when she saw the euphoric oil. Why is Elder Zhao showing them the euphoric oil? And more importantly, where did he get such a thing? Chapter 236 Heavenly Massages Return. The sect leader has tasked the medicine hall to study this substance to the best of your abilities. Even if it's just a few, try to see what ingredients were used to create this substance, said Elder Zhao. What is this substance? And where did you get it? Lan Liking asked with an ignorant expression, acting as though she's never seen the euphoric oil before. This is called the euphoric oil, and if deemed possible, it will replace our profound yin pills. As for where it came from, that is something I cannot disclose. If you really want to know, you can ask the sect leader herself, said Elder Zhao. There's no need, Lan Liking said, confirming the source of the euphoric oil from his words. There was no doubt that it had came from Su Yang, which left Lan Liking slightly worried. Because she's well aware of the euphoric oil's effects, she could see the Profound Blossom Sect going after Su Yang for its secrets. Elder Zhao left after handing Lan Liking the euphoric oil. Once Elder Zhao left, all of the disciples gathered around Lan Liking. They all wanted to confirm whether or not it was the oil that Su Yang had used on them. It really is the same oil, Chuan Jinglin mumbled. Do you think they got it from senior apprentice brother Su? Yu Yan asked with a worried expression. What if they're interrogating him as we speak? Don't say something that obnoxious, Shang Wenji frowned. No matter where it came from, the sect leader is expecting us to examine it, so that is what we will do. If you are that worried about Su Yang, you can check on him after we are done, said Lan Liking with an annoyed tone. Yes, master. The medicine hall immediately began working on the euphoric oil. But the people there were unable to work without being distracted by their worries for Su Yang, especially Lan Liking, who was particularly absent-minded throughout the entire day. Meanwhile, Su Yang just finished creating 2 more bottles of euphoric oil while inside his room. I should go once a week to the White Pearl Treasury for more ingredients, he thought to himself. Afterward, Su Yang went outside of the house and hung up a banner on a stick like a flag in the front yard, where it used to be when he was farming for premium points. While words that he has resumed his business will without a doubt spread by itself without needing him to do anything, the rumors will spread much faster if Su Yang himself advertised it. After Su Yang posted the banner outside that stated the reopening of his business, he went back inside to wait for customers. And very quickly, the disciples that passed by Su Yang's living quarters noticed his obvious flag and the large characters on it. Heavenly Massages Return, free of charge, no time limit, special services. Good Lord, Su Yang, that bastard has finally returned. The male disciples felt as though the sky has darkened once again, and their worst fears have returned. At this rate, their partners will return to Su Yang's business for pleasure and completely forget about them like before. Fuck. My girl has only recently started seeing me again after going to Su Yang for a massage. Once she hears about this, I won't be able to cultivate again for heaven knows how long. As for the female disciples, they began celebrating on the spot when they saw the sign. Su Yang is reopening his massage business, and for free. Am I dreaming right now? What kind of special services will he be providing? I can't wait. Forget about all of that. There's no longer a time limit of 10 minutes. This means I can enjoy his massage for as long as I desire. I was just about to go cultivate with my partner. Forget it, he can wait. Female outer court disciples immediately began lining up in front of Su Yang's house after seeing the banner. Senior apprentice brother, are you really opening again? Su Yang opened the door and appeared before them after they knocked on the door. That's right, he responded with a handsome smile. What kind of special service do you provide? How is it any different than what you were doing before? One of them asked. You will find out inside. Is it really free? Another asked. That's what it says on the banner, right? What about the time limit? If somebody decides to stay for the entire day, won't it take forever before the majority of us get a turn? Somebody at the end of the line asked. You don't have to worry about that because the majority of you will not last for that long. Su Yang responded with a smile. Anyway, why don't you come inside first so we can get this started? Su Yang said to the first person in line. Okay. The disciple first in line entered the house with an eager expression, and her excitement could be felt by even the people at the end of the line. Once the female disciple entered Su Yang's room, he asked her in a calm voice, Do you want a massage or do you want to cultivate with me? Excuse me. The female disciple looked at Su Yang with wide eyes, seemingly in disbelief. And thinking that she heard him wrong, she asked, Why you want to cultivate with someone like me? If that is what you desire, Su Yang replied with a smile. The female disciple turned speechless. She never expected there to be such an option when she came here. I want to cultivate with you, she quickly replied. Not many outer court disciples would refuse to cultivate with an inner court disciple, much less with someone as skilled and as handsome as Su Yang. Very well. Why don't you take your clothes off so we can start? The female disciple's swiftness and elegantly removed her clothes before laying on the bed. A few moments later, Su Yang began playing with her body before sticking his thick rod into her and absorbing her Yin Qi Chapter 237 sect elders in distress. Allah, Allah, Allah. The female disciple screamed in pleasure as Su Yang destroyed her body with his thick rod, reforming her whole into the shape of his rod. And within minutes since they began cultivating, the female disciple was already exhausted from releasing too much yin qi. If we cultivate any further, your body might be harmed from yin qi deprivation, Su Yang said to her. Although she was reluctant to leave after spending what felt like a few seconds in this room, the female disciple left after putting on her clothes. More than a dozen more female disciples have entered the queue in front of Su Yang's house since the first service. But when the first customer to enter Su Yang's house returned after spending only a few minutes inside, everybody that was waiting outside was stupefied. Why are you already back outside? It hasn't even been 10 minutes since you went inside. The people in line asked her, thinking that she was being silly for wasting her opportunity as the first individual to enter. Why, you don't understand a thing. The female disciple shook her head and left with a sensitive body, making her pace and movements awkward. The people in line watched her leave with a puzzled expression and wondered, what did she mean by that? Next guest in line, please come inside, Su Yang said from inside his room. The next individual in line no longer pondered and entered the house. Once she was inside his room, Su Yang asked her, Do you want a massage or would you like to cultivate? The girl looked at Su Yang with wide eyes and a shocked expression, resembling the last girl. Which service would you like to have? I can give you a massage or I can cultivate with you. Su Yang repeated his words when the girl remained unresponsive after many seconds. I want to cultivate. Still unsure of the situation, she responded in a questioning tone. Very well, please remove your clothes so we can begin. The female disciple removed her robes and laid on the bed, and Su Yang began his services a few seconds later. Ah, ah, ah. The female disciple couldn't believe the pleasure she was feeling. It was like she had entered a different world. And just like the last customer, she was exhausted within minutes. "Senior apprentice brother, you are amazing," she praised him in a sincere tone. Su Yang smiled and said, "I will be here if you want to return at any time." The girl nodded and left soon after. Once the female disciple left his house, when asked by the others, she said, "You can receive a massage from senior apprentice brother, or you can cultivate with him, and you get to choose." "What? We can cultivate with senior apprentice brother Su?" The girls waiting in line were shocked speechless, and their expectations and excitement have soared to the sky. "Which one did you choose?" one of them asked. "I chose to cultivate with him, and it was otherworldly," she responded with a bashful expression. "Even better than his massage?" another asked. "Way better." When the female disciples heard that, their anticipation and enthusiasm skyrocketed and reached the point where it would have enough power to destroy an entire city if such emotions were to become a technique. Once the third customer entered Su Yang's room, she immediately said, "I want to cultivate." Su Yang only nodded, and a few seconds later he began thrusting the female disciple. After he was finished with his third customer, Su Yang continued to accept female disciples into his room, and in 8 out of 10 customers, they would request for a cultivation session with him. And with each session lasting no longer than 10 minutes, Su Yang would cultivate with around 4 to 8 girls every hour. However, because each sessions are short and quick, Su Yang would only release his Yang Qi after cultivating with a dozen or so girls. The line outside Su Yang's house has increased to the point where one can no longer see Su Yang's house from the end, and there were at least 100 people standing there. It didn't even take an entire day for nearly every single outer court disciple to hear that Su Yang has reopened his business, and everybody that has gone to him before for a massage made their way towards Su Yang's living quarters once they heard of it. Furthermore, once they learned that Su Yang would be providing special services that allow them to choose between a massage and cultivation with him, they nearly went crazy from excitement, as that is something they have been wanting to experience since their massage with him. Su Yang reopening his business caused a huge commotion within the Profound Blossom Sect, even creating heavy traffic within in the outer court, making it difficult for everybody else to travel, all because outer court female disciples flooded the area Su Yang lived in. Meanwhile, the sect elders were flooded with complaints from the male disciples, blaming Su Yang for their lack of partners and cultivation ever since his reopening. What should we do? At this rate, we will see a significant decrease in the cultivation rate between disciples, and the male disciples will continue to complain until Su Yang stops his little charade. The sect elders discussed with each other as the days passed. Why don't we just tell Su Yang to stop his business? Unthinkable. A few female sect elders immediately refuted that suggestion, causing an awkward silence in the atmosphere. "Yes, I admit that I have gone to him for a massage before this, but as long as we don't cultivate, it is not against the sect rules," one of them said. "Let's talk about that another time," said one of the more senior sect elders there. "We are here to discuss a solution to the disciples' complaints. As for forcing Su Yang's business down, it will only cause the female disciples to revolt and complain next, so it will not solve anything. We have been through this last time." The sect elders sighed. Just how did a single disciple manage to cause such a commotion and dire situation for the male disciples? It's not as if he is doing anything against the sect rules either. And does a solution that will calm both sides even exist? Chapter 238, Anonymous. Vote. The sect elders spent the next half an hour pondering in silence. If they continued to allow Su Yang to operate his little business, then the male disciples will complain about their partners ignoring them. But if they stop Su Yang from giving away massages, it will become the female disciples' turn to complain to them. No matter which path they decide to take, it will not be able to satisfy both sides and anger the other. Any better ideas? the senior sect elder there asked after many ideas later. If it's impossible to satisfy both parties, why don't we just pick one? The other side will calm down once given the time. That's true, but which side do we pick? Why don't we have an anonymous vote? We either stop Su Yang and anger the female disciples or ignore the situation and anger the male disciples. The sect elders there exchanged glances with each other and agreed to vote anonymously. A few minutes later, once the votes are cast, the senior sect elder counted the votes. 9 of us would rather ignore the situation, while the other 10 want Su Yang to stop his business. When the 5 sect elders that voted to support Su Yang's business learned of the results, their faces showed signs of regret, as they will no longer be able to experience Su Yang's massages anymore. Although it was anonymous, I will say that I voted against Su Yang. One of the sect elders suddenly spoke. It is one thing if the female disciples are angry, but if the male disciples lack partners to cultivate because of Su Yang, it will greatly affect our Profound Blossom Sect, as their only way to strengthen themselves is through dual cultivation. The sect elder explained, showing logic to his reasoning for being against Su Yang. And after hearing such an explanation, those who supported Su Yang began having second thoughts. Even if half of the male disciples from the outer court do not cultivate, the entire sect's overall prowess will be lowered, which could pose a great threat to their security. But females are extremely unpredictable beings, especially when they are disciples of the Profound Blossom Sect. Who knows what crazy thing they will do if we deprive them of their pleasure, and this is coming from a female. If most of the sect elders step up, nothing will happen and everything will return to normal before we know it. Even if they are mischievous, they won't dare to cause too much trouble for the sect elders. The place turned quiet after that. A few moments later, the senior sect elder spoke. Then it's decided. Although it is regrettable that things have come to this point and he has technically done nothing wrong, we will need Su Yang to stop his business, as it is creating too many conflicts and anger amongst the disciples. After another moment of silence, the senior sect elder continued. That being said, who would like to be the one to speak with Su Yang about our decision? The sect elders there began exchanging glances once again, but all of them held a perplexed expression. Although half of them voted against Su Yang, none of them actually dared to be the one to physically stop Su Yang's business, as they did not want to appear responsible for shutting Su Yang down, because the female disciples would surely flood that individual afterward. When many minutes have passed and nobody wanted to volunteer for this task, one of them raised his hand and spoke. Since nobody here wants to volunteer despite eagerly agreeing to shut Su Yang's business down just moments ago, I will do it. The sect elders in the room all turned to look at the man who just spoke. Are you sure about this, Elder Sun? The one who had volunteered was none other than Elder Sun, Sun Jingjing's grandfather. Somebody has to do it, right? Not to mention I have spoken with him a few times before, so I am best suited for this task. Sorry to trouble you, Elder Sun. Elder Sun shook his head and left the place soon later. Once Elder Sun left, the rest of the sect elders began expressing their surprise. Who would have thought that someone like Elder Sun would volunteer for a task like this? Right. He's the last individual here that I'd expected to go. While the sect elders remained inside their meeting area, Elder Sun approached Su Yang's living quarters. However, unsurprising, the place was packed with female disciples. It's been a few days since Su Yang started his business again, and the entire outer court has heard of it by now. In other words, the majority of the outer court female disciples were here, which were in the hundreds. That being said, despite the blockage in the area, once Elder Sun appeared and the disciples noticed him, they all made a path for him while greeting him as he passed them. And because they made way for him, Elder Sun reached the entrance to Su Yang's house with relative ease. However, while Elder Sun could enter the house at will, the doors to Su Yang's room were closed, and since he didn't want to cause a scene there, Elder Sun decided to wait outside until Su Yang came outside by himself. A few minutes later, the door to Su Yang's room opened, and a female disciple walked out with unstable movements, looking like her legs were sore. Elder Sun watched her leave with a raised eyebrow, and once he could smell the scent of yin qi coming from the female disciple, he sighed inwardly. This brat Su Yang, to think he'd still have the strength to cultivate when there are this many people. Elder Sun couldn't help but feel envious towards Su Yang in his heart after seeing this scene, because even he wasn't this popular during his prime days as a core disciple, much less an inner court disciple like Su Yang. Elder Sun. Su Yang appeared after the disciple left, and he said with a casual expression, "I am happy that you are here, but aren't you aware? I only accept females into my room." "What, screw you? I am here on a different matter." Elder Sun quickly shouted at him to prevent any misunderstanding. "Is that so?" Su Yang merely smiled and said, "Let's talk inside." Chapter 239, The Desire to Cultivate. After Elder Sun entered the house with Su Yang, Elder Sun spoke. "I will keep this short and simple. What you are doing right now has caused too much of a commotion, and the sect elders have decided to stop it once and for all." "Quite straightforward," Su Yang said, his expression still calm. "Although you aren't doing anything against the sect rules, it has led to many male disciples unable to cultivate, and we cannot allow this to happen anymore. I hope you can understand that it was only brought to the sect elders' attention because of the constant complaints being thrown at them, and they are all fed up with it." Elder Sun explained to Su Yang that although they wanted him to stop doing this, they were only forced to by the disciples. Is that so?" Su Yang remained nonchalant, and he continued, "So it's my fault that these disciples are unable to please their own women, huh? I thought the Profound Blossom Sect encourages its own disciples to cultivate with as much as possible, and that is what I am simply doing." Elder Sun knew that it wouldn't be easy to convince somebody like Su Yang, but he tried regardless. "That is true, but in your case, it is something the sect has never seen before. I am certain that nobody within the sect would have expected a single individual to cultivate so many people that it's actually causing trouble. And what will you do if I refuse? Since I am not breaking any sect rules, you will need a better reason to convince me to stop. As a matter of fact, why don't the Profound Blossom start teaching its disciples how to pleasure women better?" "Su Yang, this is not a matter you can refuse, as every outer court sect elder are expecting you to stop this charade." Elder Sun frowned. "Charade? That's hurtful, Elder Sun. All I am doing is helping the sect by pleasuring the female disciples, but because of some complaints, you are willing to take away the happiness of these women. I am ashamed to be a part of a place with such a mindset." Su Yang shook his head, seemingly in distress. However, despite his little act, Elder Sun did not believe it for a second and said, "Although I have only spoken with you a few times, I know your character very well, Su Yang, and you are not the type to be saying such words." Su Yang smiled and said, "Then you clearly don't know me at all." Seeing how this is going nowhere, Elder Sun sighed. "What will it require for you to stop this madness? I am only here to send you a message. If you do not want to listen to me, then you will have to deal with others, and they are not as patient as I am." Su Yang looked at Elder Sun with narrowed eyes. Although the yin qi he gets from cultivating with all these outer court disciples were minuscule at best, it's been a while since he last cultivated with so many women without any breaks, and he quite enjoyed it despite not benefiting as much as he'd like from it. Though, while it may not affect Su Yang that much if he were to stop cultivating with these outer court disciples, he does not like it when people force things on him. Let me get this straight, you only have a problem with what I am doing because the female disciples that are coming to me for pleasure would not return to their partners, and they are complaining, correct? In a sense, yes. Elder Son nodded. Then you won't bother me if those disciples stop whining, right? Elder Son looked at him with a pondering expression, thinking to himself, what is he thinking of doing this time? If you can make that happen, then the sect elders would have no more reasons to stop what you are doing. How can you be so sure? Who do you think I am? Elder Son spoke with an arrogant voice. If I say that the sect elders won't bother you, then they will not. After a moment of silence, Su Yang nodded and said, I will take your words for it. A second later, he approached the door. Where are you going? Elder Son asked him. Su Yang did not say anything and went outside. Once he was outside, every disciple there looked at him with worried expressions, wondering if something troubling had occurred, as Elder Son is chief of the disciplinary squad, and there's only one reason why he would make an appearance in the outer court. I have 3 things to announce. Su Yang suddenly began speaking in a loud enough voice for even the people in the back to hear it. 1. I will no longer continue this service. When Su Yang said those words, every female there felt as though someone had stabbed them in the heart with a sharp sword. What? Did something happen? Is it because of Elder Son? This is too sudden. I have been waiting here for hours. An uproar occurred outside Su Yang's living quarters, and Elder Son could feel a drop of sweat dripping off his face when he heard his name constantly being mentioned by the masses. Sure enough, the disciples have immediately considered him as the reason for Su Yang closing his doors. Quiet down for a second. I still have 2 more things to say, Su Yang roared, instantly hushing the place. Although I will no longer be doing this as a service, my doors will still be open to anyone who wishes to cultivate with me, so nothing has changed. What is the meaning of this? Elder Son stared at Su Yang with a dumbfounded expression. And before the female disciples could even celebrate the news, Su Yang continued speaking. However, that being said, because most of you have been neglecting your partners, I will be in trouble if this continues. If you want to continue cultivating with me, make sure that you at least don't ignore your partners. Because at the end of the day, I am not your partner, only a disciple of the Profound Blossom Sect with the desire to cultivate. The entire place turned completely silent, and it remained quiet even many seconds after Su Yang's words. Everybody there was at loss for words, Elder Son included. Thank you for listening to the story on KevinAudio.com, Chapter 240, God of Pleasure. Will this be good enough for you, Elder Son? Su Yang turned to ask him, who was staring at him with a dumbfounded expression, seemingly in a daze. I guess. Elder Son didn't know how to react, as none of the sect elders had expected this situation. If there's nothing else you need from me, I would like to return to my cultivation, Su Yang spoke in a calm manner. Elder Son stood there like a statue for a few more moments before leaving the place, as there was truly no longer a reason for him to stay any longer, not to mention the sharp glares being thrown at him from the female disciples. He was afraid that if he'd stay any longer, the female disciples there will truly see him as a villain. After leaving the outer court, Elder Son returned to where the meeting had taken place, where the rest of the sect elders were waiting for his news. Elder Son, you have returned quite faster than I have expected. How did it go with that disciple? Did he give you any trouble? The sect elders asked him. Elder Son shook his head. Although I didn't manage to convince him to stop, the male disciples should no longer be complaining after today. What do you mean by that? While the sect elders were puzzled, no matter the situation, they were more shocked about Elder Son being unable to convince a disciple, especially when he's the chief of the disciplinary squad. Elder Son sighed and explained to the rest of the sect elders what had happened when he tried to convince Su Yang to stop his charade. Who would have thought that there was such a simple yet effective solution, mumbled the senior sect elder there. All they had to do was to ask Su Yang to convince the female disciples to stop ignoring their partners, and everything would have been solved without needing to shut down his service. But to think that he'd say something as bold as taking away the female's happiness, he sure knows how to put people in tough spots. The sect elders there laughed, especially the female elders. However, despite the perfect results, not every sect elder there was pleased. They disliked how Su Yang, as a mere disciple, was able to do whatever he wanted like he ran the place. That being said, none of them spoke up, as they believed that if Su Yang continued to live with such attitudes, he will one day offend someone he cannot afford to offend and learn the hard way. "Now all we can do is wait for the actual results," said Elder Sun. Everybody there nodded, and they all left the place a few minutes later. Meanwhile, back at the outer court, the line in front of Su Yang's house did not shorten even after many hours later. In fact, it had even grown. The word of Su Yang's cultivation techniques and the thick rod that he wields in bed were spread across the sect within the first day, and pretty much every outer court is aware of it by now. Now that many days have passed, even those female disciples that have sneered at Su Yang in the past have gone to him for cultivation at least once. There were also disciples that have vowed to stay away from Su Yang, but after hearing nothing but his name for many days caused their curiosity to overturn their resolve and seek for him. After an entire week of cultivation within the outer court, only very few female outer court disciples that have yet to cultivate with Su Yang remained, something they view as an achievement worth bragging about. What's more, Su Yang has become a sort of a divine figure within the outer court, with many females even starting to address him as God of pleasure when speaking about him. A week has passed since Liu Lanjai woke up from her seemingly enteral slumber. "It's been a week and there are no signs of your slumber returning. You should be in the clear for now. That being said, don't do anything too dangerous for the remainder of the month just in case it returns," the doctors said to Liu Lanjai after a week of observation. Once the doctors left, Liu Lanjai immediately left the Yin-Yang Pavilion for the first time in a week, and with a destination in mind, she headed towards the outer court. "Just you wait, Su Yang. You may be thinking that you have gotten away with slapping my face because I haven't sought for you in these few days, but now that I can leave the Yin-Yang Pavilion, you will regret ever slapping my beautiful face." However, when Liu Lanjai arrived at the outer court, she was shocked by the scene before her. There were at least 100 female disciples hanging around Su Yang's living quarters, and there were even a few male disciples there that were seemingly trying to convince the female disciples to leave the place. This disciple greets the sect master. The disciples there immediately bowed to Liu Lanjai and greeted her when they noticed her figure. "Why are there so many people here? Is there a celebration or something?" she asked them with a dumbfounded expression. Because she has been inside the Yin-Yang Pavilion for the past week, and the sect elders did not want to bother her, they did not mention to her about the situation here, hence her bafflement towards the situation. "That is incorrect, sect master. We are all here waiting to cultivate with senior apprentice brother Su," one of the disciples there explained to her. Liu Lanjai's jaw immediately dropped to the floor upon hearing that. All of these female disciples were here to cultivate with Su Yang. "What in heaven's name happened while I was absent?" she cried inwardly. "Why would there suddenly be so many people wanting to cultivate with Su Yang? Did he do something again?" Chapter 241, An Irresistible Offer. Do you think senior apprentice brother Su is in trouble with the sect master? I thought everything was fine when elder Sun left. Maybe she is here for a different matter. The female disciples there watched Liu Lanjai approach Su Yang's front door with worried expressions. Although they might be able to revolt against a sect elder for trying to stop Su Yang from cultivating, the sect master is an entirely different story. If the sect master truly wants Su Yang to stop, then there's nothing Su Yang can do but to respect her commands. And if such a thing really happens, what can they do from now on to satisfy their hunger for lust? The female disciples there cannot imagine what life would be like without Su Yang, especially since they are starting to get used to him. A few moments later, once the female disciple that was in Su Yang's room came out, Liu Lanjai glared at her with narrowed eyes, which caused the female disciple to tremble from shock. SS Sect Master, she immediately greeted her while wondering why Liu Lanjai was giving her such a dirty look. Liu Lanjai did not say anything and directly walked into the house, closing the door behind her. When Su Yang appeared behind the room, he pretended to be surprised when he saw her. Sect Master. What a surprise! Are you also here for a massage? He asked her with a smile. Cut the act, Su Yang. I can see your fakeness from miles away, Liu Lanjai coldly snorted. I do not understand, Su Yang shook his head with a puzzled expression. Liu Lanjai pointed to her face and spoke loudly. I am talking about how you slapped my face to wake me up from my slumber. Do you really think that you'd be able to get away after committing such treason? It is a crime to treat any lady's face with such disrespect, much less a beauty such as myself. Liu Lanjai expressed her anger and discontent towards the way he treated her beautiful face. However, Su Yang only shrugged and said, You already said it yourself that it was to wake you up. Yes, I did, but you also said that I would have woken up even without your help by the end of the day. So why was it necessary to slap my face? Indeed, I had said something like that. However, I also wasn't able to ignore the sect elders there with their anxious expressions, as it was making me worried. If I had made them wait in such a state of mind for a few more hours, it would have definitely affected their health. Liu Lanjai opened her mouth but no words came out, as she didn't know how to respond to his words despite knowing that he wasn't really worried at all. She was just speechless at Su Yang's character. Does he even see her as the sect master despite addressing her as one? Anyway, is this all you are here for? To scold me for waking you up? Su Yang continued to speak as though he was talking to a friend. Liu Lanjai frowned and retrieved a glass bottle from her robes and showed it to him, and she spoke. You sold this to Elder Zhao, correct? Su Yang looked at the euphoric oil in her grasp and nodded. That's right. He did not deny it at all, something Liu Lanjai was expecting him to do. Where did you get it? Liu Lanjai did not beat around the bush and asked him directly. What if I refuse to answer? Are you going to force me? Su Yang responded with a smile on his face. No, I will not. Even if I am the sect master, I will not force you to reveal something you do not. Liu Lanjai narrowed her eyes. However, that being said, because this substance here has the potential to greatly change our sect as a whole, I will do everything in my power to get it out of you without doing anything that is against the sect rules, of course. Is that so? Su Yang continued to remain calm. If you cooperate with me, the Profound Blossom Sect will compensate you greatly for it. I will allow you unlimited free entry to the Chamber of Embrace, along with many other benefits that even core disciples would envy. This is an incredible offer that any disciple would not hesitate to accept, not to mention the merit you would receive for assisting. The Chamber of Embrace, huh? Is she still unaware that the place has long lost its powers ever since I uprooted the root of vitality from that place? Su Yang thought to himself, indeed, that may be an irresistible offer for your average disciple. Unfortunately, I find no interest in that offer. Liu Lanjai frowned when he refused her offer, but she also refused to give up and continued trying to convince him. Knowing you, there must be something that you want from me, and you are simply waiting for me to say it. Well, what do you want from me? If it's within my power, I will see what I can do. Su Yang chuckled and said, If it's within your power, are sect masters always this humble? Just because sect masters rules the sect does not mean they can do whatever they want, as there are things even we cannot afford to do. For example, if you were to ask me for unlimited cultivation resources, I will be unable to fulfill that, as it is my responsibility as the sect master to ensure all of the disciples have a chance in obtaining them fairly. Don't worry, I won't ask for something like that, he said with a smile. So there is something specific that you want from me. Liu Lan's eyes narrowed at his words. Although it's not much, there is indeed something I would like you to help me with. HMPH, don't be too greedy and go overboard, Su Yang. Knowing you, even the heavens falling may nothing but a small matter in your eyes. Liu Lanjai warned him chapter 242 Guardian Spirit. I want you to assist me with my cultivation, Su Yang said with a calm face. Liu Lanjai frowned and said, You do realize that you are speaking to the sect master of this place, right? I didn't mean you specifically. Su Yang shook his head. I want you to find me cultivating partners at least until the regional tournament. Liu Lanjai for some reason felt uncomfortable when Su Yang said that, especially the first part. How surprising, she snorted coldly. You are the last person in this entire place I would expect to ask for help regarding such issues. How would you explain the situation outside then? You have nearly the entire outer court female population waiting in line to cultivate with you. Su Yang smiled and spoke. Indeed, I don't truly require assistance, but it would take too much time if I were to look for them one by one. If I could have the someone, the sect master no less, mention my name to them, it would lessen the time I need to convince them and increase the time I get to cultivate. Liu Lanjai looked at him with a slightly confounded expression, and she asked, By them, who exactly are you speaking of? The core disciples, of course. Liu Lanjai's eyes widened with surprise. She truly didn't expect Su Yang to go for the core disciples already. Aren't you getting ahead of yourself, Su Yang? Even if you are an inner court disciple, very rarely will core disciples agree to cultivate with people with inferior cultivation bases, Liu Lanjai said. The disparity between the profound spirit realm and the true spirit realm is nothing short of substantial, so core disciples would rather cultivate with sect elders or seek for cultivation partners outside of the Profound Blossom Sect. Su Yang chuckled and said, You don't have to worry about that, as I have my own ways to convince them. I just need you to bring them to me. Liu Lanjai believed that Su Yang was trying to bite more than he can chew, but in reality, Su Yang is already being humble with his choices. You may be confident in yourself, but you are also underestimating the core disciples' standards. Even if you are the most handsome man on earth, if your Yang Qi lacks quality, they wouldn't even consider cultivating with you. Su Yang did not feel like repeating himself and remained quiet with a smile on his face. After a moment of silence, Liu Lanjai spoke. Are you sure that is all you want for the information regarding the euphoric oil? Are you asking me to ask for more? Of course not. I just didn't want to see you complaining to me afterward. You don't have to worry about such things. He shook his head and continued. I am a man of my words, and despite my experience, I have had very little moments of regret. Liu Lanjai raised an eyebrow at him, who sounded as though he has lived a very long life. A 16-year-old like you shouldn't speak as though you are 16,000 years old, she scoffed at him and continued to speak. Anyway, I will accept your request. However, what exactly do you want me to do? It's simple, really. Just give this piece of note to each and every single one of the female core disciples, said Su Yang as he handed her a bunch of notes. Liu Lanjai accepted the notes and said in a dumbfounded voice, You already had these prepared before I arrived. It's almost like you expected me to. When Liu Lanjai came to the realization and stared at him with wide eyes, Su Yang mere smiled and said, Oh, I have another note that's specifically for that girl with the yin element guardian spirit. Su Yang pulled out another note and handed it to her. Fang Zhelan. Liu Lanjai's eyes widened at the name on the note. How did you learn of her guardian spirit? It is something that even most sect elders are unaware, she quickly asked him. I had a feeling, he responded with a casual shrug. Impossible. Liu Lanjai was shocked, speechless. The fact that Fang Zhelan is trying to cultivate this guardian spirit is something the Profound Blossom Sect has been keeping as a tight secret because guardian spirits are very rare in general, as they can become a powerful ally for whoever raised it, something that even powerful sects would not hesitate to steal for themselves. Some would compare guardian spirits to your everyday beasts in the wild, but that is a misconception only ignorant individuals would believe, as they are vastly different. Because of the divine qualities in their blood, guardian spirits are mostly related to holy deities, and once they are grown, their power far exceeds any beast found in the wild. Not to mention all guardian spirits are born tame, so it is extremely difficult to raise one and influence it, especially when it is young. To put into perspective their strength between a wild beast and a guardian spirit at the first level of the true spirit realm, the guardian spirit may rival even human cultivators at the earth spirit realm, whilst the mere beast would at best rival a human at the third level true spirit realm. And because of their natural ability to hide their presence from people and beasts alike, guardian spirits are very hard to find unless one has a unique technique specifically for locating them. In fact, the only reason Su Yang realized that Fang Zhelan was cultivating a guardian spirit, and not a mere wild beast, was due to Xiao Rong, who had mentioned it to him when she arrived at the Profound Blossom Sect for the first time. Su Yang, the fact that we have a guardian spirit within our sect is a secret that cannot be leaked outside no matter what. Because if it does get leaked, who knows how many powerful backgrounds will attack us in order to steal the guardian spirit for themselves. Not to mention that the guardian spirit we are cultivating is still at a young age. If known, a war may even break out. Liu Lanjai warned him with a grave expression. Chapter 243 Patriarch's Return / You can relax, Sect Master. I have no intention of trying to sacrifice my limited peaceful days for a mere guardian spirit, / said Su Yang. Because who knows what chaos will happen once he returns to the four divine heavens, Su Yang wants to at least enjoy this peaceful time. Liu Lanjai did not doubt Su Yang for some reason. If it was somebody else before her right now, their conversation will definitely be vastly different and not something this peaceful and calm. It was almost as though she unconditionally trusts Su Yang, and even Liu Lanjai is aware of it herself. Is it because of his composure, or is it his charm that is affecting me like this? Even though he is a mere kid and I am the sect master, it's been like this ever since the inner court assessment, / Liu Lanjai stared at Su Yang with a pondering gaze, seemingly dazed by his presence. / Anyway, is there anything else you need here? I will answer all of your questions regarding the euphoric oil once you fulfill your side of the agreement. Liu Lanjai quickly shook her head and said, as long as you keep your promise and keep your mouth shut about the guardian spirit, I have nothing else to say to you, / After saying those words, Liu Lanjai turned around and approached the exit. However, before she could even take 2 steps, Su Yang opened his mouth to speak, / Sect Master, since you are already here, why don't I relieve some stress from your body like before? Su Yang wasn't willing to let Liu Lanjai leave so easily since she's already there. Liu Lanjai immediately stopped moving after hearing his words and turned around to stare at him with narrowed eyes. Don't get ahead of yourself, Su Yang. What happened during the inner court assessment was a unique occasion. Don't think you can treat me as though I am just another disciple because we cultivated one time during an examination. You can say whatever you want, but I can tell that your body is filled with frustration. How long has it been since you last relieved yourself? Su Yang spoke with a smile on his face. It's not good for the body if you keep it like that, you know. Nonsense. Liu Lanjai sounded a bit angry, but that was due to Su Yang hitting it on the mark regarding her body feeling frustrated. While she did not want to admit it, the last time Liu Lanjai cultivated was when Su Yang last visited her as the Heavenly Emperor, which was many weeks ago. What do you gain from lying at this point? I know it, you know it, and most importantly, your body knows it. Liu Lanjai remained silent this time around, yet her face was slightly red. It was almost as though she was holding herself back. After a moment of silence, Liu Lanjai spoke, I can't. There are too many disciples outside, Su Yang chuckled and said, what do a few disciples matter at this point when they already saw you enter my house? Unless you tell them yourself, who would dare to spread rumors? Liu Lanjai turned silent again, but she was thinking inwardly that what Su Yang said made sense, as nobody would believe that the sect master will disobey the sect rules. That being said, Liu Lanjai did not want Su Yang to continue acting as though he always has the upper hand, so as much as she wanted to cultivate with him, she still refused. No means no, Su Yang. If you ask me again, I will punish you for overstepping your boundaries as a disciple. Liu Lanjai anticipated Su Yang to react to her words, but alas, Su Yang's expression remained nonchalant, and he calmly nodded, it's unfortunate, but you didn't have to make it sound as though I am forcing you. Don't worry, sect master, as I will no longer bother you from this point forth. Although Liu Lanjai felt that something wasn't right here, she didn't pay much attention to it and said, as long as you understand your position as a disciple. Liu Lanjai left the place a few moments later, and Su Yang continued to welcome female disciples into his house as though his interaction with Liu Lanjai never happened. Once Liu Lanjai returned to the yin-yang pavilion, she cursed loudly, damn that Su Yang. He thinks that he can have everything go his way just because he is somewhat decent with his techniques. If it weren't for his background and our perplexing relationship, I would have long punished him for his behavior. After cursing for a few moments straight, Liu Lanjai laid on the bed and closed her eyes to rest. As she rested, she wondered where the patriarch had disappeared to for these last few weeks. It was almost like he no longer existed. He could have at least notified me, she sighed inwardly. Time passed quickly as Liu Lanjai fell asleep in her room thinking about where the patriarch might have gone, and by the time she reopened her eyes, it was already midnight. However, Liu Lanjai immediately noticed a figure in the very corner of her view. SS Senior Liu Lanjai hastily got off the bed to greet him when she finally recognized his face. For him to appear so suddenly right after she was just thinking about him. What a scary coincidence. How long have you been sitting there? She asked him, who was sipping tea by himself at the table. Su Yang placed the cup of tea down and turned to look at her with a calm expression. Not too long, just a few hours. What? Liu Lanjai couldn't believe that she didn't wake up to his presence despite being there for so long. However, after thinking about his profound cultivation base, it was no longer as unbelievable to her. That being said, Su Yang had lied about being there for hours, as he just arrived a few minutes ago and wanted to mess with her chapter 244 stepping down senior. What brings you here today? Liu Lanjai asked him despite her urge to ask him where he's been lately. I am here to fulfill my promise, said Su Yang with a smile. Liu Lanjai raised an eyebrow in puzzlement. I do not understand, she said a moment later. Su Yang did not say anything else and waved his sleeves, causing a bunch of things to appear before Liu Lanjai. TT this is. Liu Lanjai stared with a gawking expression at the techniques and spiritual treasure that was piled into a small mountain before her. I picked these up during my travels, but because I have no use for them, I will give them to your Profound Blossom Sect, said Su Yang as he pointed to the dozens of treasures he had found in the Immortal Treasury's treasure room. There were at least 50 cultivation techniques ranging from the mortal grade to the earth grade, and over 200 spiritual treasures ranging from the spirit grade to the earth grade. Just the cultivation techniques alone were enough to significantly boost the prowess of a high-ranking sect, much less a medium-ranking sect like the Profound Blossom Sect. However, with the spiritual treasures added into the mix, the Profound Blossom Sect will skyrocket in prowess, becoming a sect with great power and resource within not just the eastern region but the entire eastern continent. Why, you are going to give all of this to the Profound Blossom Sect? That's too much for an unworthy place such as this place. Liu Lanjai spoke in a trembling voice, her face filled with disbelief and shock, looking like she just entered heaven. You don't want it. Su Yang raised an eyebrow. That's not it. It's just I don't know how to react or how to repay you. The Profound Blossom Sect will gladly accept so many free resources, but Liu Lanjai feared that Su Yang might ask for something afterward. And if that thing happened to be something that she cannot fulfill, what will happen then? You don't have to worry about repaying me. Just think of it as picking up trash that another man had left behind, as that is what it will become if you refuse to accept it, said Su Yang. If Liu Lanjai wouldn't take these from him, he would rather just throw them in the middle of the street and allow others to pick them up. While these items may be worth fortunes for the people of this world, such techniques and treasures are no different than pebbles on the sidewalk in Su Yang's eyes, completely worthless. Liu Lanjai glanced at the pile of shimmering treasures before her eyes and swallowed hard, her mouth overflowing with saliva from a profound thirst. Then, I will no longer be humble and accept your generous gift. Liu Lanjai immediately went to retrieve multiple storage rings and pouches to hold the treasures, as there were simply too many treasures before her eyes to fit in a single storage ring. After getting the storage rings, Liu Lanjai tossed the treasures into them one by one, and on her face was extreme bliss, looking like someone who'd just won a lottery. Su Yang watched Liu Lanjai's childish behavior with a gentle smile on his face. Although there were many things that he disliked about this place, he respected them for being able to create an environment that is normally frowned upon even in the four divine heaven. When it comes to dual cultivation, where cultivators cultivated alongside their lust, the majority of the world disdain such a vile cultivation method, as they believe that such practices defile the divine qualities of cultivation. This is an earth-grade spirit weapon. Liu Lanjai's eyes glimmered with light when she picked up a sword that emitted a profound aura. Here's another one. Liu Lanjai immediately went to pick it up after tossing the other earth-grade spiritual treasure into the storage ring. It took many minutes for Liu Lanjai to completely store away the mountain of treasures, even though she barely looked at them before tossing them into the storage rings and pouches. And after she finished storing away the treasures, Liu Lanjai looked at Su Yang with an embarrassed face and spoke. That was unsightly of me. I was too excited and couldn't help myself. Su Yang shook his head and said, Anyway, now that is over, it's time to tell you the real reason as to why I am here today. There's more. Liu Lanjai narrowed her eyes, feeling a weird aura in Su Yang's gaze. That's right. I came here to tell you that I will be stepping down as the patriarch, which was only temporary in the first place, so you are free to finally search for an actual replacement. When Liu Lanjai first heard that, her mind did not comprehend it instantly and stared at him with a dumbfounded face. However, once she finally understood the meaning behind his words, her eyes widened with shock, and she shouted, You are leaving already. This is too sudden. Indeed, Su Yang's departure was as sudden as his first appearance, no warning or anything of sorts, like a lightning strike during a clear and beautiful sky. What's this? You actually want me to continue being the patriarch despite being pressured to accept it when we first met? Su Yang said with a slight chuckle. Liu Lanjai opened her mouth, but no words came out. If Su Yang never pressured or bribed her to accept him as the patriarch, she would have long begun looking for another patriarch. But that being said, it was not as though she really disliked the situation, as not only did the Profound Blossom Sect receive his protection in return, but he also gave them many treasures that they would have never been able to obtain by themselves. In fact, while Su Yang did not really do anything to help the sect during his few weeks as the patriarch, his profound cultivation base and seemingly infinite wealth was the definition of an ideal sect master in Liu Lanjai's eyes, as his profound presence made her feel secure and filled with relief despite being the cause for the previous sect master's death. Now that he will be leaving, Liu Lanjai worried that she might not be able to find someone that is even half as qualified as Su Yang to be the replacement. Chapter 245, Unrequited Love. Liu Lanjai pondered and pondered ways to convince Su Yang to stay as their patriarch, even if it's just in name, as his presence alone was the result of her security as of lately. But alas, at the end of the day, even if she could think of excuses, Liu Lanjai didn't dare to try and make someone as powerful and mysterious as Su Yang stay any longer than he desired, as such tactics would surely backfire on her and the sect. Although it is regrettable and a profound loss for our sect that you will be leaving, I understand and respect your decision, she said a moment later. Su Yang nodded, but he was not finished with her yet, and he spoke. While I will no longer be here, I can guarantee you that the Profound Blossom Sect will still receive my blessing and protection for at least a few more months, so you can find my replacement without having to worry about external issues. Liu Lanjai's eyes flashed with excitement, and she bowed deeply. Thank you, Senior. Although she cannot imagine how he will protect the place whilst being absent, Liu Lanjai did not doubt his words and accepted it. Now all that is done before I leave this place, I have another offer for you, said Su Yang with a mysterious smile on his face. Liu Lanjai looked at Su Yang with an anticipating expression. Before I leave for good, why don't we cultivate once more? I can tell that your cultivation has benefited greatly from our last session. When Liu Lanjai heard that, her eyes widened and her jaw dropped to the floor. Indeed, her cultivation progress has increased significantly ever since she cultivated his yang qi that was richer than any individual she has cultivated with before. If you don't want to, then I will take my leave, Su Yang said to her when she remained silent. WW8, I want to cultivate with you again, Liu Lanjai immediately said, her face seemingly filled with desperation. Without him, who was slightly worse than Su Yang in terms of technique, her sexual frustration will not be relieved properly unless she goes to Su Yang, an urge she has been resisting as of lately. And without saying anything else, Liu Lanjai removed the sash around her robes and allowed everything that covered her smooth skin and tender-looking body to slide off her body. Su Yang also removed his robes a few moments later, before getting into the bed with Liu Lanjai and cultivating with her. However, unlike their previous session, Su Yang did not hold back on his techniques and even surpassed the disciple Su Yang, which profoundly surprised Liu Lanjai, who thought that she would never be able to experience pleasure beyond what Su Yang could bring to her body. Ah! Oh my God! Why, you weren't this intense before. Liu Lanjai moaned crazily as all of the frustration in her body dispersed. I held back last time because of the lecture, Su Yang replied as he caressed his fingers across her smooth body that was constantly trembling from the pleasure. Ah tilde, tilde, ah tilde. Liu Lanjai could feel her mind slowly enter a profound state that was similar to enlightenment. It made her body feel as light as feather, allowing her to feel as though her body was ascending towards heaven while being wrapped in a blanket of pleasure. And even with all of her experience, Liu Lanjai has never experienced anything like this before, which made the occasion that much more enjoyable. Ah tilde, ah tilde, ah tilde, Liu Lanjai moaned non-stop throughout the night, as their cultivation session lasted until the sun began peeking over the horizon. After their long and intense cultivation session, Liu Lanjai laid on her bed with a dazed expression as she was mesmerized by Su Yang's overwhelmingly rich yang qi that overloaded her cave. What kind of yang qi is this? It's much more profound and powerful than before. She cannot even imagine what kind of cultivation base one would need in order to create such intoxicating yang qi. In the midst of her thoughts, Liu Lanjai turned her head to look at Su Yang, who was already putting his robes back on his body with an engrossed gaze, looking like a maiden in love. This feeling is this love. Liu Lanjai couldn't believe how easily she had fallen in love, much less with someone she knew nothing of, especially when she has not experienced such a feeling before with any of her previous partners. In other words, this is Liu Lanjai's first time experiencing love in her life, despite having hundreds of cultivating partners to this point. However, to be fair, most people in this Profound Blossom Sect cultivate not because of love. In fact, the majority of dual cultivators only think for themselves when cultivating, and only see their partners as cultivation resources like spirit stones and the likes. Su Yang was no different. Besides a few individuals amongst the countless of partners he's ever had, he treated them as cultivating resources and nothing more. That being said, it was not as though Su Yang would toss them to the side after cultivating with them. "Will I ever see you again?" Liu Lanjai asked him in a soft voice. "Of course," he responded with a mysterious smile, "and it will be sooner than you will ever expect." The distress in Liu Lanjai's heart lessened after hearing that, but she still felt disheartened about the whole situation. Why did I have to fall in love with him at the very last moment, much less with someone like him? She sighed inwardly, thinking that out of the countless men out there, she had to fall for someone that she cannot imagine standing beside without feeling unworthy. Is this karma for the countless men out there that I have made experience the same feeling? After Su Yang left the place, Liu Lanjai did not immediately cultivate the rich yang qi in her body that was akin to a priceless treasure, and instead laid on the bed pondering about her unrequited love. Chapter 246 Zio. By once he left the yin-yang pavilion, Su Yang returned to his living quarters, where there were already disciples outside and waiting for him early in the morning. Meanwhile, after Liu Lanjai spent a profound amount of time pondering about the disguised Su Yang, she also left the yin-yang pavilion to deliver the notes Su Yang had given her. The first core disciple Liu Lanjai decided to visit was obviously Fang Zhelan, who was taking care of the guardian spirit for the Profound Blossom Sect, as she is the only individual this guardian spirit would listen to for some reason. Su Yang. "I do not know of any disciple with that name," Fang Zhelan said to Liu Lanjai after being asked about Su Yang. "Are you certain? If both of you have never met, then how could he have possibly learned of the guardian spirit?" Liu Lanjai pondered with a serious expression. "I can't answer what I don't know," Fang Zhelan spoke with a nonchalant expression, and she continued, "However, I am certain that she has never left this room, so unless this Su Yang sneaked in here without my knowledge, I cannot imagine how he could have learned of it." The possibility of another individual leaking the information was also unlikely, as only the most trusted and important individuals are aware of the guardian spirit. "Anyway, why don't you read the note?" Liu Lanjai handed Fang Zhelan the note Su Yang gave her, Fang Zhelin looked at the note and casually accepted it before reading it. Although her face remained uninterested for the first few moments, Fang Zhelin's eyes flickered with a weird light after she finished reading all of its contents. "What does it say?" Liu Lanjai asked her. "Sect Master didn't read it yet." Fang Zhelin looked at her with slightly wide eyes. She was certain that Liu Lanjai would have looked at the note before giving it to her. How unexpected and surprising. "Well, no, I have not." Liu Lanjai did not want to risk offending Su Yang and the secrets to the euphoric oil and resisted her urge to peek at the contents despite her curiosity. This Su Yang, he's saying that he can awaken the guardian spirit and turn it into an adult within 1 month of time. Fang Zhelin revealed the contents of the notes. "What did you just say?" Liu Lanjai's eyes widened with great shock. Awakening is another term for when a guardian spirit reaches adulthood. However, such occasions are extremely rare and incredibly difficult to achieve, as they require a massive amount of resources and care in order to even attempt to awaken. Under normal circumstances, even an influential and wealthy sect would require over a dozen years of time and countless resources to awaken a guardian spirit, much less a sect like the Profound Blossom Sect. By now it should be obvious how difficult raising a guardian spirit is, yet for Su Yang to say that he can awaken a guardian spirit within a month of time, something that even elite sects would not dare to imagine, it sounded straight bullshit. This Su Yang, he's quite the joker, huh? Fang Zhelin couldn't help but shake her head, thinking that Su Yang was only messing with her. However, Liu Lanjai stared at Fang Zhelin with a serious expression. Sect Master. Don't tell me you actually believe his words, right? Fang Zhelin asked her, who seemed to be in deep thoughts. I cannot say for sure, Liu Lanjai spoke in a sighing tone. Knowing him, he's probably not joking at all. As for how he's going to do it, I cannot even imagine it. Fang Zhelin became speechless, as she's never seen the sect master act like this before. To be able to make the sect master like this, who is this Su Yang? She wondered in curiosity. Anyway, where is the guardian spirit right now? I don't see. Just as Liu Lanjai opened her mouth to ask, a small figure appeared from under Fang Zhelin's bed. There you are. Liu Lanjai immediately smiled upon seeing the white ball of fur under the bed. Xiao Bai, greet the sect master, Fang Zhelin said to the white animal. When the little fur animal heard Fang Zhelin's words, it tilted its small head slightly down towards Liu Lanjai's direction, greeting her with a bow. Liu Lanjai could feel her heart melting when she saw the cute little animal that resembled a baby tiger bow to her. "Hello, Xiao Bai." However, when Liu Lanjai tried to speak with it, the baby white tiger shrunk its head back into the bed and disappeared into the darkness. Seeing this, Liu Lanjai could only smile bitterly. Even if she's the sect master and Fang Zhelin's master, the guardian spirit does not care for anybody else besides Fang Zhelin. That being said, since Fang Zhelin was the one who found the guardian spirit in the first place, it made sense that it wouldn't trust anyone besides her. Anyway, I need you to speak with Su Yang, and don't forget to bring Xiao Bai along with you. You want me to take Xiao Bai out of this room? Fang Zhelin asked her just to be sure. Liu Lanjai turned speechless for a moment before saying, "Ignore that. I will have Su Yang come here instead." Liu Lanjai nearly forgot about Xiao Bai being a secret. After that was decided, Liu Lanjai left the place a little bit later to meet with the other core disciples. Once Liu Lanjai left, Fang Zhelin sighed. Did something happen to the sect master? She seems so different as of lately. A few moments later, she said out loud in a gentle voice, "Xiao Bai, you can come out now." After hearing her voice, the baby white tiger slowly crawled out from under the bed and approached her. Fang Zhelin then retrieved a yin element monster core from her storage ring and fed it to the guardian spirit. "You really have a bottomless stomach, huh? Within just a few weeks, You have eaten almost all of the lightning cat monster cores that would last for an entire year, even for someone like me. Fang Zhelan sighed. At this rate, she can't even imagine what its appetite would become once it reaches adulthood. Chapter 247. A small risk, although it had taken her nearly half the day because she had to look for them. Liu Lanjai managed to contact all of the core disciples. However, when she was finished speaking with the last disciple, Liu Lanjai left the place sighing. He definitely won't like the results, she sighed. Besides Fang Zhelan, every other core disciple refused to accept Su Yang's note. That being said, it was not as though Liu Lanjai did not expect this result. In fact, she didn't even try to persuade them when they refused, as her only job was to deliver the notes, and she knew that they would still refuse. Afterward, Liu Lanjai returned to Su Yang's living quarters, where there was still a bunch of outer court disciples waiting around, looking like a garden of flowers waiting to be watered. Seeing this scene, Liu Lanjai sighed again. Knowing how godly his techniques are, it would be weird if this isn't happening, she thought to herself. When the disciples there noticed Liu Lanjai, they immediately greeted her. Some of them wondered if the sect master also wanted a massage from Su Yang, hence her presence there. As for others, such a thought did not even appear in their minds. Instead, they were worried for Su Yang, who might be in trouble with the sect master because of the recent commotions. After waiting for a few minutes, a pretty young lady walked out of Su Yang's living quarters with unstable movements, looking like she was walking on slippery ice during an earthquake. Next, Su Yang's voice resounded from within the house, but nobody there dared to enter, as they were all waiting for Liu Lanjai to go first despite arriving last. Sect leader. Su Yang greeted her with a welcoming smile when she entered the room. Liu Lanjai felt something was different about Su Yang when she saw him. Though she couldn't figure out why she was having such feelings, it caused her heart to throb at a faster rate, almost like her body was reacting to his presence. "I am here to tell you that I have completely what you requested," she immediately said to him. "However, besides Fang Zhelan, none of the core disciples even bothered to accept your notes." Liu Lanjai told him the truth without coding her words and waited for his reaction. However, Su Yang didn't even lift an eyebrow upon hearing the news. "Is that so? That's quite unfortunate," he said in a calm voice. "Then about the euphoric oil, as promised, I will tell you how I obtained it," he said. Liu Lanjai was slightly startled by the results, as she was worried that Su Yang would start making excuses, and she stared at him with wide eyes, patiently waiting for the next words that would come out of his mouth. "But before I tell you that, can you return to me all of the notes that I had given you?" he said with his hands forward and opened. Liu Lanjai did not think much of it and returned the notes that were refused by the core disciples. "What is written inside the notes, if you don't mind me asking?" She was too curious to not ask. "Nothing much," he responded as he grabbed the notes. "Just a few heaven-grade cultivation techniques that might have helped out their cultivation." Liu Lanjai's expression froze when she heard that, and she stared at him with eyes wider than an egg. Seeing her reaction, Su Yang smiled and said, "I am obviously joking." As he said those words, Su Yang used his alchemy flames to burn the notes until they no longer existed. When Liu Lanjai saw the alchemy flames, she felt as though the world in her mind shook, almost like she was experiencing a great revelation. Is TT that? That's right, it's alchemy flames," Su Yang said without hesitation. "And coincidentally, this is where the euphoric oil comes from." Liu Lanjai was shocked speechless. Since when did Su Yang become an alchemist? How long has he been one? And most importantly, did he truly make the euphoric oil something that is superior to even the profound yin pills that the Profound Blossom Sect held in high regards before knowing of the euphoric oil? "What's wrong? You don't believe me?" Su Yang asked her after she remained silent for many minutes. No, that's not it, Liu Lanjai said. I just didn't expect you to be this transparent. Even though Su Yang was only doing as he promised, Liu Lanjai couldn't believe that someone as secretive and mysterious as him would reveal such a big secret to her, especially when it seems like he's been hiding it for quite some time now. Why are you telling me this? You must have another reason. Su Yang smiled and said, I would have revealed it sooner or later even if you never asked. However, I do have a small request for you. W. What do you want from me now? Liu Lanjai prepared herself inwardly. It's simple, really. Su Yang approached her and spoke a few sentences of words to her. Liu Lanjai was puzzled at first, but as she heard more from him, her eyes would widen from shock. Why you, unbelievable. Liu Lanjai didn't know whether to laugh or cry after listening to the whole thing. However, one thing was for certain, that she would have never guessed his request even in a million years. Very well, she nodded. Although I am technically breaking the sect rules by allowing this, this is a special occasion. Su Yang smiled and said, perhaps I should reconsider teaching you how to create the euphoric oil in the future. Liu Lanjai's eyes shone brightly after hearing those words, and she spoke. You don't have to worry about the fact that you are already an alchemy master being revealed to the world, as it will remain as a secret with me. Su Yang didn't say anything because he already knew that she would say that. Anyway, I came here to tell you another thing. Due to the circumstances with the guardian spirit, Fang Zhelen is expecting you at her living quarters. I understand. I will go see her as soon as possible, said Su Yang. Good. Then I leave for now to fulfill that request of yours, she said before leaving the place shortly after, still feeling shocked about everything she learned today about Su Yang. And although she has over a dozen questions for Su Yang regarding his alchemy flames and other things, she has decided to leave it for the future when she fully comprehends and accept all of the information that she has learned today. Chapter 248. Su Yang is innocent. After leaving Su Yang's living quarters, Liu Lanjai headed to the medicine hall, where the disciples have been hustling with work after Lan Liking punished them for being late to work. Master is really cruel. How could she toss all these work at us for being late despite having a reasonable excuse? Yu Yan sighed. Unreasonable. You want to speak of something unreasonable? The fact that I am being punished alongside you guys despite not being late is unreasonable, exclaimed disciple Zio, the only disciple there to dislike Su Yang and one of the few outer court disciples that have yet to cultivate with him. Sisters like us are supposed to share everything from our joyous moments to our painful moments. Yu Yan shook her head and said, What kind of nonsense is that? Zio cried out loud. Give it up, Sister Zio. That's right, you get nothing out of complaining to us. If anything, complain to Master, the other disciples said to her. This is all that Su Yang's fault. Disciple Zio cursed him inwardly. If not for him, would they have been late in the first place? And because of Su Yang, who has been their main topic for the majority of the time, she has been feeling left out of the group as of late as someone who has nothing good to speak about him. Suddenly, just as disciple Zio opened her mouth to speak, Liu Lanjai casually entered the medicine hall. Sect Master, disciple Zio, who was the first to notice her entrance, immediately greeted her. This disciple greets the sect master. The other disciples quickly followed after noticing her. Is Elder Lan present? I am here to speak with her, said Liu Lanjai. Why, yes. Master is currently in her room finishing up the report regarding the euphoric oil, said one of the disciples. Ho, the medicine hall has already figured out all of the ingredients for the euphoric oil. Liu Lanjai was taken by surprise by the results, as she did not expect it at all. Yes, sect master. Our master currently has the list for the ingredients. You have exceeded my expectations, medicine hall. You can all expect a raise in your salaries and spirit stones for the next 3 months, Liu Lanjai said with a smile, and the disciples reacted with controlled excitement, as they didn't want to behave too unruly before the sect master. Anyway, I will go upstairs to meet with Elder Lan now, said Liu Lanjai as she left the disciples alone to head upstairs. Knock knock, Elder Lan, it's the sect master. The door to Lan Liking's room opened a few seconds later and Lan Liking greeted her at the door. Disciple Lan greets sect master. Let's talk inside. Lan Liking nodded and closed the door after her. Once they were inside, Lan Liking said, Sect master, we have finished analyzing the euphoric oil, and here is the list of ingredients. As for the report, I am almost finished with it. Liu Lanjai accepted the list and read its content. Indeed, it's the exact same as the list Elder Zhao provided, she thought inwardly. Every ingredient in Lan Liking's list was also in Elder Zhao's list, so there was no doubt that these are the actual ingredients required to create the euphoric oil. As for the method, she will have to wait and see if Su Yang is willing to share it with her before they waste resources for even more testing. You don't have to give me the report, Liu Lanjai said to her. Lan Liking stared at her with a dumbfounded expression. I understand. Anyway, I am actually here for a different matter, Liu Lanjai suddenly said, her eyes narrowed on Lan Liking. Lan Liking became puzzled. Why else would the sect master be here if not for the euphoric oil? It's about your relationship with Su Yang, Liu Lanjai said without any warning, shocking Lan Liking, who nearly choked upon hearing her words. What are you talking about, sect master? Lan Liking resisted her urge to cry and asked. You don't have to hide it. I am fully aware that you have cultivated with him, Liu Lanjai said, making Lan Liking's worst nightmare into a reality. And more importantly, how did she find out? SS Sect Master, I can explain. Lan Liking began trembling in fear for the consequences, and she dropped to her knees to kowtow. It's all my fault. I was the one who seduced Su Yang, even using my status as a sect elder to pressure him. Lan Liking began lying in order to push all of the blame to herself, so that Su Yang wouldn't be punished or at least have a lesser punishment. However, little did she know that Liu Lanjai already saw through her lies before she even finished speaking. And seeing Lan Liking's reaction, Liu Lanjai felt like teasing her for a bit before telling her the truth. Elder Lan, are you aware that sect elders are prohibited from cultivating with disciples? I am. Then do you know the consequences for breaking this sect rule? Liu Lanjai narrowed her eyes at Lan Liking and made an expression that was filled with disappointment. I am aware. What else do you have to say to me? This disciple has no excuses, nor does she plan on asking for forgiveness. However, please, do not punish Su Yang, an innocent disciple, due to my own foolish mistakes. Liu Lanjai almost burst out laughing when she called Su Yang innocent. However, she admired Lan Liking for trying to protect Su Yang, even putting all the blame on herself. I cannot do that as he also bears some responsibility in all of this. Liu Lanjai wanted to see how Lan Liking would react to this. In no way, please. Sect Master, I am willing to do anything, just spare him. Lan Liking begged with her forehead touching the ground, her eyes dripping with tears. I guess this is enough, Liu Lanjai thought to herself. It would be bad for her if Lan Liking complained to Su Yang about this. Raise your head, Elder Lan. It was Su Yang who told me about your relationship, she said. What? Lan Liking slowly lifted her head to look at Liu Lanjai, and on her face as an expression of profound disbelief, looking like she just learned that her family was murdered by bandits. Chapter 249, Sect Master's Approval /S Sect Master. What did you just say, /? Lan Liking stared at her with wide eyes, seemingly in shock. Liu Lanjai showed an apologetic smile and spoke / as an apology for teasing you, even making you cry. I will make your relationship with Su Yang an exception. /WW what? Lan Liking remained dazed as she still couldn't comprehend the situation. It was Su Yang who told me about your relationship with him, even requesting for me to be here. so you don't have to worry about being punished. //wy/Lan liking asked. It's a bit complicated, so I will spare explaining it for now. Liu Lanjai shook her head. All you need to know right now is that I, as the sect master, have approved of your relationship with Su Yang. Thus you no longer have to worry about being punished for it. That being said, you will still have to wait until he becomes a core disciple before flirting in public, as your current situation will surely create many problems for the both of us if known by the other sect elders. Liu Lanjai expected Lan liking to burst with excitement after hearing her words, but Lan liking only continued to cry. In fact, she cried even harder than before, which dumbfounded Liu Lanjai. Elder Lan. Are you okay? She asked her. Yes. Lan liking nodded. I am just overwhelmed by joy that the tears cannot stop falling. After a moment of silence, Liu Lanjai said with a slight smile, although you may not believe me when I say this, but I was greatly shocked when I heard your name come out of Su Yang's mouth, as you are the last individual in this place that I would expect to break this specific sect rule, and I can still barely accept it even now. You. Someone who remained adamant about staying pure for life for over 30 years, refused the courting of hundreds of handsome men, would end up losing your purity to a young disciple that has been with us for only 1 year. I am sure the previous sect masters are currently watching you in heaven with wide eyes and crying expressions, especially after all the effort they had spent in trying to convince you to find a partner. Lan liking silently listened with a flushed face. She couldn't refute anything coming out of Liu Lanjai's mouth, as she can barely believe it herself even right now. If you don't mind me asking, why did you choose someone like Su Yang? Although I admit that he's incredibly handsome and charming as a young man, and would surely grow up to be even more attractive in the future, there are plenty of men out there with better character and attitude than him. Lan liking opened her mouth, but only spoke a single word before turning silent again. After spending a moment in silence thinking about her answer, Lan liking continued to speak, to tell you the truth. Even I do not know why I chose someone like him, she said with a bitter smile. All I know is that I feel safe whenever his presence is nearby, and there's this certain charm about him that I cannot help but feel attracted to. Liu Lanjai narrowed her eyes. As much as she hates to admit it, she understood Lan liking's explanation, as she also feels the same way whenever she's with him. Even though he's just a mere disciple, even though he's not even half my age. Liu Lanjai began feeling frustrated the more she thought about it. Why does it have to be Su Yang? What makes him so special? Besides his appearance and godlike techniques, there is nothing truly special about him, so why? Liu Lanjai pondered. Although it may be too late for an apology, I still would like to apologize for breaking the sect rules. Sect Master, Lan liking suddenly lowered her head once again and said, I'm sorry, Liu Lanjai did not reply to that statement, as she was certain that she would feel guilty if she accepted this apology. I also broke this sect rule and cultivated with him as the sect master, no less, so I am not in any position to accept her apology. She sighed inwardly. Anyway, why don't you get off the floor already? I have known you ever since you were adopted by the previous sect masters, but they are not here right now, so I will hear about your relationship with Su Yang in detail in their stead. Said Liu Lanjai as she sat at the table nearby. Sect master, Lan liking wiped the tears off her face and followed Liu Lanjai to the table. Once Lan liking calmed down, Liu Lanjai asked, so When did all of this start? How long has it been since you have become a true adult? What were you thinking during that time? It must have changed your view regarding this world, right? Wait a second, sect master. I cannot answer all of that at once. A drop of sweat appeared on her forehead when Liu Lanjai bombarded her with questions. Just answer it one by one. After spending a moment to prepare herself, Lan Liking said, it all started when a close friend of mine recommended me to see Su Yang for my body pain. I was skeptical at first, but when he healed the pain in my body, something that I have been trying to solve for many weeks, I began trusting him, and my feelings for him also began developing around that time. One thing led to another, and he somehow talked me into giving him my pure yin essence. Liu Lanjai couldn't believe what she was hearing. Their relationship had started that early on. Wait a second. Why, you cultivated with him before he was even an inner court disciple? Liu Lanjai couldn't help but ask. Lan Liking confirmed with a nod of her head. It was shortly after he began selling his massage services. B. But he was only at the elementary spirit realm back then. There's no way he could have cultivated with your pure yin essence at that time. Your true spirit realm pure yin essence could have greatly injured his foundation and body. Hell, it's a miracle he's still alive. Yet he managed to cultivate my pure yin essence and break through to the profound spirit realm and become an inner court disciple. Lan Liking said with a smile, feeling proud of him. Unbelievable. Liu Lanjai forcefully swallowed her shock. Just how many secrets does Su Yang have inside his sleeves? Is he really an embarrassment of the Su family? It just doesn't make sense. Su Yang's entire existence. That is chapter 250. Meeting Fang Zhelan. After spending many minutes chatting with Lan Liking, Liu Lanjai realized just how much Lan Liking loves Su Yang. What's more, it appears that Su Yang has been snooping around the place more than she'd expected. Hell, the fact that he managed to swoon someone like Lan Liking as a mere outer court disciple is nothing short of a miracle. I think I have heard enough now, Liu Lanjai said after listening to her whole story. Anyway, just remember that until Su Yang becomes a core disciple, you should still remain cautious when meeting him. Yes, sect master, Lan Liking nodded, feeling as though a mountain has been lifted from her body after revealing everything to Liu Lanjai. Liu Lanjai left Lan Liking alone a few moments later, returning to the yin-yang pavilion. Lan Liking released a deep sigh of relief after Liu Lanjai had left. She nearly had a heart attack in the beginning due to Liu Lanjai's teasing and could still feel her heart throbbing like drums at this second. That Su Yang could have at least warned me beforehand. I nearly died of shock just now. Despite her complaint, she was grateful to Su Yang for revealing the truth to Liu Lanjai, even convincing her to allow it. How he managed such a miracle, she cannot imagine, but that's simply one of the many charms about Su Yang. Meanwhile, Su Yang just finished cultivating with his 20th partner for the day. Ah, senior apprentice brother, how are you cultivating with this many girls and not burn out from exhaustion? Even if your yang qi is abundant, how you remain stiff despite cultivating continuously without rest is simply unbelievable. The disciple asked him whilst she laid on his bed naked. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it, he replied with a smile. After the female disciple left, Su Yang went outside and said to the other disciples that were waiting outside, I apologize in advance for this sudden announcement, but I will take a break from cultivating for the next few days. Although the girls were disappointed by the announcement, they did not blame Su Yang for wanting to take a break, as he has been cultivating for the last few days without rest. You do not have to apologize for that, senior apprentice brother. If anything, we should be the ones apologizing to you for taking up so much of your time. Fellow disciple is right. Take all the break you want and we will patiently wait for your return. Thank you for understanding, said Su Yang. Once the female disciples scattered from his living quarters, Su Yang enclosed himself within his living quarters for the next few days without taking a step outside. Master, what are you doing? Xiao Rong returned from playing during one of these days and asked him. I am growing a plant, he casually responded. Sitting before Su Yang was an empty pot of soil, and for the past few days he has been feeding the thing that was buried within the soil with his profound qi using a unique technique. Xiao Rong stood there and watched him work. However, she was not interested in what he was doing at all. Instead, she stared at Su Yang's handsome face as he worked. Master, what's that weird smell coming from your body? It smells sort of like female humans. It's yin qi, he calmly responded. Yin qi, what's that? Females release this type of qi when they are overwhelmed with pleasure. Xiao Rong cannot understand. It's fine if you not understand right now. Su Yang did not feel like explaining what lust mean to a phantom cat, much less one with the mentality of a child. Anyway, are you finished playing? I will be staying here for the next few months, so you can go a little bit further to play if you like. Xiao Rong shook her head and said, Xiao Rong has played enough. Su Yang raised an eyebrow. Could she have already traveled the entire world? He wondered. Knowing the phantom cat's godlike speed that even gods fear, it wouldn't be weird if she'd already seen every city in this world in just a few days and not just once but twice. Xiao Rong will stay here with Master, she said a moment later. It will be very boring if you stay here with me, you know. Xiao Rong will be okay, she said with a calm voice. After spending hundreds of years alone in a desolate area such as the Immortal's treasury where she is the only living being, Xiao Rong has become immune to boredom, not to mention that beasts don't mind being bored in general. In fact, just being beside Su Yang would be more than enough for her to be entertained. If you say so. Thus, for the next few days, Su Yang focused on growing his mysterious plant while Xiao Rong watched him from the sideline like a doll. Meanwhile, Fang Zhelin had remained in her living quarters for these days, patiently waiting for Su Yang to see her. Where is that disciple? I have been waiting for him for an entire week now, Fang Zhelin complained as she combed the silky white fur on Xiao Bai. Knock knock suddenly, the door to her living quarters was knocked on. Is that him? He's finally here. Fang Zhelin quickly went to open the doors. However, the person that greeted her at the door was not Su Yang. Instead, it was another core disciple, one named Yun Nanshan. Senior apprentice brother Yun, what are you doing here? She asked him with an unwelcoming expression. I am here to see if junior apprentice sister would like to cultivate with me, said Yun Nanshan with a bewitching smile on his handsome face. Sorry, but I am currently busy. Fang Zhelin quickly refused. However, Yun Nanshan did not immediately leave and continued to stay around, even offering to help her. What are you busy with? Since I have nothing else to do today, I can lend you a hand. There's nothing you can, are you Fang Zhelin? Suddenly, another voice resounded behind Yun Nanshan. Who? Yun Nanshan nearly pissed his pants when Su Yang suddenly appeared behind him like a ghost, and he jumped away like a cat having its tail stepped on by accident. How did he not notice him at all? Fang Zhelin narrowed her eyes at Su Yang's handsome face. This is Su Yang, she said inwardly.